Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing, getting you ready for a busy Monday show, starting your week off the right way. Whew. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope all the dads had a great Father's Day, or restful at the very least. We are ready to rock and roll this week. We got a lot of ground to cover. It is an election week. Early voting is in the books. We look ahead to Saturday. We wonder, can it get any nastier? And sadly, it probably can. We'll talk about that with Moon Griffon coming up in our 8 o'clock hour. What's going on with Iran right now? We're going to talk with ABC News later on this hour. Actually, before we get to anything, let's knock out top stories and trending. Shelby Bordelon from Sunshine is the new Miss Louisiana. She was crowned on Saturday night after 30 young women from across the state gathered in Monroe this week to compete for the crown. Bordelon, a graduate student at Southeastern Louisiana University, also won a $15,000 college scholarship, with nearly $70,000 in total being awarded to the different contestants. The Port Allen Police Department is investigating an early Sunday morning shooting that left one person injured. According to the department, the shooting occurred around 5 a.m. on Azalea Street. While investigating, officers located the victim suffering from multiple gunshot wounds on Highway 1 South. The victim was later transported to a local hospital in critical but stable condition. Following the investigation, officers said 5 suspects were arrested and charged. Bring it back to this side of the river. One person was injured in a stabbing off of Sherwood Forest Boulevard. Authorities are currently, they were responding yesterday to a stabbing on South Sherwood Forest Boulevard that left one person injured. The incident occurred around 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. Emergency officials said that a person was transported to the hospital in stable condition. Not known what led to the stabbing, and there really hasn't been any information since that time. Economic development trade publication Area Development has honored Louisiana with the 2026 Gold Shovel Award, the third straight year that it has earned the recognition. The publication uses an independent panel of economic development experts to evaluate the top 10 business developments and business expansion projects in all 50 states. Early voting for the June 27th election in Louisiana wrapped up Saturday. The numbers show a large drop-off compared to the May election. 151,637 votes in Louisiana. Voters in Louisiana have already cast their ballots for this coming Saturday. That's more than 100,000 fewer than during the early voting for the May 16th closed primary. What you say, Breland?
Iran's chief negotiator said late Sunday that Iran is ready to respond after President Trump's threat to take over Iran and control the Strait of Hormuz, after Iran's president said his country would not give up its rights to enrich uranium. Okay.
And Donald Trump said something to the effect of, you won't have a country to get home to.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about this with Jordana Miller from ABC News coming up at 6:25. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You won't have a country to come home to.
That's very bold.
Yeah.
President Trump said Saturday afternoon that the U.S. Park Police had arrested multiple people he alleged were vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, which has been plagued with algae and peeling paint in the days since the Trump administration completed a costly renovation.
Yeah. I don't understand this at all. Like, the Trump derangement syndrome is so bad sometimes that you want to tear up the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial just because it's a repair that Donald Trump undertook. Like, you hate Trump so much, you want to deface
history.
Right.
And vandalize.
Right.
Yeah.
In front of the guy that freed the slaves, no less. Huh.
Gosh.
Okay. Have at it.
Oh, my gosh. Well, Keir Starmer has announced he will resign as UK Prime Minister. Starmer confirmed on Monday morning that he will step down following weeks of mounting speculation amid falling poll numbers and growing unrest with the ruling Labour Party.
Yeah, heard that on America in the Morning this morning. Talk about, or I heard on the Fox News Rundown in the 4 o'clock hour, where this is this is going to be their 6th prime minister in 10 years.
Whoa!
I know. I know. You think about like when we were coming up, the stability of a Margaret
Yeah.
Thatcher or even a Tony Blair. Nowhere near that anymore. 6 and 10 years.
Gosh.
I know.
I almost wonder how the residents are feeling in the UK. You know, very.
It's turmoil. I mean, how can you have anything but?
I know.
Well, those are your top stories, and to look at what's trending this morning. Let me give you the rundown real quick, because we got, like I said, a lot that we're getting after. Jordana Miller from ABC News going to hop on board at 6:25. We will be talking about what's going on in Iran. Jordana is based out of Jerusalem, so she's halfway around the world. In the 7 o'clock hour, we'll talk men's health in our Medical Monday segment. We've got Councilwoman Laurie White-Adams going to be on the hotline at 7:35. The folks over at the Red Eye had a great piece up about drainage problems in Baton Rouge. And coming off of last weekend where you saw flash flooding in a number of areas real quick, we had a tropical storm that gave Baton Rouge no rain. And then the next 3 days after that, we caught flash floods basically everywhere you turn.
Right.
It was
It
stupid.
was brutal.
They had, in Sherwood, people had to be rescued off of Goodwood Boulevard near Havenwood. I saw the next door app went off.
Yes.
The Goodwood near Havenwood. And I know right where this was at because it's in between Havenwood and Stockton. There's a spot that always floods, but I've never seen it flood so bad that somebody had to be rescued by fire department on,
My
I
gosh.
believe this one was on Friday night.
No, that was it was Friday
this
night.
one was
that
on
was
Friday
at
night.
Texas Club.
Yeah, this one was on Friday night. So unbelievable stuff. And then we turned around and you saw Saturday brought a dousing as well. So
Saturday afternoon.
Yep. So it's just we'll talk with Laurie White-Adams about the drainage problems there. Alice Glenn from New Orleans and Company joins us at 8:05. We've got a stack of topics to cover within New Orleans, but there's no way we don't touch on that World Cup vibe because it looks like New Orleans is getting spillover tourism from the folks going to Houston while they're in for the World Cup. So that's going to be one of the topics we cover at 8:05. Moon Griffon, Everything Under the Sun with Moon at 8:15. Moon announced that he's endorsing John Fleming for U.S. Senate, which it's different. Normally, a radio show host does not endorse a particular candidate, but okay. Specifically when you have a party primary, but okay. We'll talk with Moon about that and about the race itself at 8:15. And then we've got the BREC Room before we get out of here. Before we take our first break, though, I want to remind you about the folks over at Guarantee Health Solutions. GuaranteeHealth.com is the website, GuaranteeHealth.com. The tagline is bridging the gap between healthcare and hospitality, and this is really the nature of what they do. If you work in a medical office, if you run a medical office, if you own a medical office, you need to pay attention to this one. And we could be talking about the smallest clinic to the biggest hospital. Doesn't matter. Their system works to scale. Guarantee Health Solutions system works to scale. They will work with you to grow your relationship with your patients. And through that, grow relationships with more patients. If you want to grow your medical office the right way, grow it by building hospitality, bedside manner, if you want to call it that. Grow those relationships on the front end to grow your business on the back end. They've built out a 4-pillar plan. You can learn more about that at GuaranteeHealth.com, or even better, give them a call at 290-7534, 225-290-7534 for Guarantee Health Solutions. Do what?
Curtis Chastain, he's our dude, right, for medical today.
Yeah, they asked us to replay it since it's still Men's Health Month.
Alan says Fleming and follow him on X.
I saw that. He tagged me on Twitter last night with that.
Alan, you're famous. He said, "Why me of all people?"
No clue. I would guess just that. Well, so he started following me like on Friday, Saturday, maybe.
Maybe he's following.
And could be. .616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Man, at some point along the way, we need to talk about the World Cup. We don't have. There's no room in today's rundown at all. But what a vibe! Everywhere you turn, it's been nothing but positivity, and just the gloriousness that is sport. We get caught up. We get caught up way too much when talking sports. We get caught up too much talking accounting. We get caught up in talking, salary caps and on a professional level, or, well, I guess they're all professional levels now, transfer portals and NIL dollars and rev share. We get caught up with our sports has been taken over almost completely by dollars and cents, moving beads on the abacus back and forth type of thing, rather than just the love of the game. And there's something about this World Cup that is bringing that back to the forefront, at least on the football side of things. We'll get to it as the week wears on. Right now, though, let's talk a little bit about the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. The new class is going to be inducted up in Natchitoches this weekend. Ronnie Rance is the president and CEO of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. He caught up with, or I should say, our partners at Louisiana Radio Network caught up with Ronnie. He says events celebrating the inductees be going on all weekend. His favorite day is Friday, kicked off by the Celebrity Bowling Bash at the Four Seasons Bowling Center in Alexandria, Cut 13.
This year's theme is 70s theme. It's a lot of fun. You dress 70s. We'll have 70s music. We'll have catered food, all you can drink. It's really a lot of fun for the whole family.
So, who's in the class? Well, headlining this year's class, former LSU Tigers Warren Morris, Todd McClure, and Big Sylvia Fowles. Saints wide receiver Joe Horn, LSU basketball coach John Brady. They're also in the 12-person class. Friday evening is the Rockin' River Fest with live music right there on Natchitoches Riverfront.
It's just a great environment. We'll do fireworks at 9:15. We'll introduce all the Hall of Famers on stage. And so I definitely recommend folks join us on the 26th. Bring the family.
The ceremony itself is going to be Saturday night. That'll be broadcast on LPB across the state. Rance says there will be even more opportunities for family fun during the day that day as well. Cut 15.
We've got a junior training camp that's absolutely free for kids 7 to 17 years of age. You can go online at lasportshall.com to register for that. You get a T-shirt, you get a Cane's lunch.
Yeah, it's always a big time every single year, and I always love the way they go about finding their inductees, because there's always a couple names that we know, a couple names that we didn't know, and then a couple names that we really didn't know, and Ronnie does such a great job of, I'm going to get him on the show this week to give the full breakdown because he does such a great job of putting together a really comprehensive class every single year. It's not just all LSU. It's not just all football, basketball, baseball. He really knows how to break it down the right way and really celebrate all that is sports in Louisiana. We're coming up on 6:20 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We are coming up on the Fox Business Report. After the Fox Business Report, very, very quick break, and then I will check traffic, and then we're going to dive into, on the hotline, will be Jordana Miller from ABC News coming to us from Jerusalem. She lives there. Well, you got to find a Bed Bath & Beyond in order to do that. All right. Everybody get ready for the loud bang. Oh, you can audibly hear it in the. Awesome.
That one particular day, for whatever reason, I'm like, and it was in the middle of you talking, so I couldn't take it out. And I'm like, they going on and on the FIFA. Seen about 50 Europeans going to Bucky's.
Oh, it's been great. Bucky's, Waffle House,
Bourbon Street,
Lone Star Steakhouse.
of all places.
One of the, I think it was from Cameroon. One of the fans from Cameroon went to Lone Star Steakhouse. Had a life-changing experience. I mean, we're good. It's just, I hate to be that oversimplified about it, but we're seeing zero delays on I-12 coming in from Livingston Parish. We're seeing zero delays on I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish. Nothing coming back across the river either on I-10 eastbound coming back from Port Allen side. I-110's looking good. Now, there are no surface street accidents report. I will throw this one out there, though. If your morning commute takes you up Government Street towards downtown, Government is actually closed right there by the original Harriman's for a block. So you got to reroute by a block and then navigate your way back onto Government Street. If that's going to back things up any, I would recommend coming downtown via North Boulevard rather than Government Street. I think that's still going to be out there as the morning drive starts because it was out there when I was coming in about an hour and a half ago. So that's really the only thing to look out for this morning. That's really good traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Oh, shoot. We don't have a hotline. Really got to get that fixed. 624 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hoping to connect with ABC's Jordana Miller in just a quick second. Want to make sure we've got the right connection there, and also she's going to be calling in from Jerusalem, so it's always kind of, I don't want to say that's always hit or miss, but a reporter halfway around the world, we always want to make sure that everything times out right. While we do have a minute before we get to her, though, I want to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is available for you 24/7. FlyBTR.com is the website. What do you find when you get to FlyBTR.com? Really the breakdown of the airport, and it's fantastic. Whether you're talking about your flight info, which, by the way, I love checking out the arrivals and departures every single day just to make sure everything's smooth. And as far as departures are concerned, looking good so far. The only delay on the board is DFW, and that's because, actually, we saw that on Friday, too. The storms that are rolling through the Dallas area right now are causing just some minor problems when it comes to getting planes taken off and landing. So the flight leaving for Dallas, flight that was supposed to leave for Dallas about 20 minutes ago, is delayed right now until things clear up over there in Dallas. Meanwhile, the first flight out to Houston has already landed. The first flight out to Atlanta has already departed. Charlotte, North Carolina is coming up in about 20 minutes. And then right at 7 o'clock, that daily flight to Washington, D.C., that daily flight into Reagan National that comes home same evening. Fly to our nation's capital, get home same day. You don't even have to book a hotel room. It's unbelievably convenient. FlyBTR.com. All right, I'm hoping we can connect with Jordana Miller here. We have a lot to talk about. As you heard Bree Lynn mention in the trending stories this morning, I don't think we're going to be able to make this happen. As you heard Bree Lynn mention in the trending stories this morning, Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammed, and I apologize if I get his last name wrong, Ghalibaf, said that President Trump's threat to take over Iran and control the Strait of Hormuz after Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, hope I'm pronouncing that right, said his country would not give up on their right to enrich uranium. That's the linchpin of the whole deal. That is the linchpin of the whole deal. And while we get to hear the president's threat, what we don't get to hear is what led up to that. Like, how was there a promise on the table? Was there a mention of getting rid of enriched uranium? If that was part of the discussion and then suddenly disappeared, well, then what, right? If that was part of the discussion and then all of a sudden it wasn't, well, then how do you address that? Meanwhile, if President Trump is saying, you won't have a country to go home to, we'll blow you off the face of the planet, how do you negotiate after that? It's a lot to unpack, a lot to untangle. Since we do have a minute, though, I guess we can talk about this right now. Has the World Cup hit your social media yet? Because it's all over mine. It's all I can find, and I love every ounce of it. I want to go find a statue in Baton Rouge, put a road cone on top of it. The people from Scotland in Boston, so apparently there's this Scottish tradition of putting road cones on top of statues, and they've been doing this all over Boston, and it is phenomenal. I don't know why. I don't know why it's so great, but it's because it's a silly little prank. No one gets harmed. There's absolutely zero harm in doing it. And the other fans cheer this one Scot on who's climbing up a statue to put the road coat on, and everybody cheers. And it's been this great camaraderie, this great example of what sport can actually do to people, bringing people together. And apparently, as Americans, we've been phenomenal hosts everywhere people have turned around. And we're going to talk to New Orleans and company later on in the morning. They're built to host. And a number of cities around the country are pretty darn close. The Netherlands taking over Houston has been nothing short of ridiculously great. Fox hiring Jameis Winston has been an absolute masterstroke. And just everywhere you turn, there's been more and more good news coming out about the World Cup. And I got to tell you, when we are beaten over the head with negativity every single day from our news, when we are beaten over the head every single day with so-and-so wants to destroy America, so-and-so is, the next Hitler, like we have headlines like that, and then to see all these people who come to this country and they sing and they dance together, and it is jubilant. and it's wonderful. It would be nice to see that carry over just a little bit. It would be nice if they could pull that off to carry over just a little bit. I mean, if not, hey, we gave it a good swing and we gave it a good run. But as for right now, I'm taking it and running with it. And if your social media isn't flooded with the World Cup yet, I recommend doing it because it's made my day. The Scotland takeover night at Fenway Park for the Tartan Army to take over Fenway Park for a Boston Red Sox game. I've been to a Boston Red Sox game. I've been to Fenway Park. I've seen David Ortiz, Big Papi, leave the yard with a home run. I remember vividly singing Sweet Caroline in the middle of the 8th inning. I do not remember singing after every half inning, and every half inning was the entire stadium singing the song, no matter what the song was. The entire stadium singing along. It's been so great. I want more. I want this in my veins. It's 6:30. Here's news on Talk 107.3 FM. There she is. No, we just missed it. I mean, I'll tell her. Jordana? No, that's okay, and I apologize, but we've missed the segment now. I'm so sorry. We've been having hotline problems, and I completely forget that, like, everybody I'm connected with has hotline problems. Are you available? Okay. No, well, I mean, I'm sure everybody's hitting you up this morning because this is the biggest news of the day, right? All right. Well, you're all good. I just can't apologize enough. I hate wasting your time. So, all right. Well, I might put it back down for tomorrow morning show. So anyway, um, she had to get to her next hit. So she said get with Sarah to reschedule, and I'm like I don't have a window. I know.
It's like it was fixed and then it's broken.
I don't know when was it fixed? It was fixed for like a hot minute a month ago.
You want me to email Paul and you and just say, I know you're probably on this still.
Yeah, please. They also don't live in a floodplain.
They're loving it. All the World Cup content.
Oh, it's so fantastic.
Freddie, LA7, I adore him.
Oh, I forgot about Freddie. How about the Japanese guy that went to the Mexican restaurant in Texas? And like, I sat down, they brought me chips and salsa, and it's like, I didn't even order this. It's like,
I'm done. He said I didn't even order this.
everything. Like, there's so much that's free.
So now the funny stuff, Brian, is on TikTok. They said British tourists going back home after visiting the U.S. or like people from overseas, and like they have a pop belly and they're like stumbling back.
Oh, I saw the Korean guy eating the beef rib. It was just everything about it has been and the number of people are like, okay, America, we're never going to get on you again about using air conditioning because it's glorious.
Right.
And then like everybody's like, yeah, why is it that every American doesn't weigh 800 pounds? It's like, we get on you for being fat. We'd all be fat. And then about the American hospitality, that's my favorite part. Because the number of tourists here who have said, we've been lied to all these years about how horrible and unsafe America is, about how dangerous America is, about how everyone's got a gun and you're going to be shot every time you turn around. Like,
That's how they see us overseas.
I know. 636 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. My apologies that we're not able to connect with Jordana Miller from ABC News in that last segment, and it's looking like her morning is stacked to the point where I don't think we're going to be able to make the connection. I might put the request back in for tomorrow morning. It provided the story advances today. I don't want to sit on day-old news, but can you tell me the day over the last 3 months that the U.S.-Iran story has not advanced? Or at least come out with a new recycled headline. So hopefully we can connect with her tomorrow morning. That was just a little mix-up right there time-wise. But anyway, we got a lot of ground to get to in this segment. Before we do, though, I want to give one more quick shout-out to Ryan and Frank and the folks from Raging Cajun who came in on Friday for Foodie Friday. Which is, of course, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. We had the beef hot dogs, the beef chili, which was ridiculous. The championship chili from Raging Cajun. I mean, Brian, you're eating chili out of a box. Yeah, I am, because it's unbelievably good. Just the right amount of heat, just the right amount of pop, and then when you throw that jalapeno relish on top of the dog as well, also a Raging Cajun product, you get that spicy and sweet. You get that spicy going on.
It was so good.
So good. Anyway, by the way, did you know that they've set up promo code TALK? If you go to, I believe it's AcadianKitchens.com is where you'll find the Raging Cajun products. Use promo code TALK. You're going to get 10% off. And if you order more than $40 worth of product, you're going to get free shipping as well. So promo code TALK over there with the Raging Cajun products, and I would get $40. I'd get $50 worth of just jalapeno relish alone. It's so no. It
is.
I could. Oh, I don't know how to describe the combo any better than just the pop of the spicy and sweet, because it's so, I don't want to say unique, but they do it better than anybody else.
Look, and I will say this, if people don't like relish, because I'm one of those, I just don't like relish. I'd rather pickle relish without the sweet, if that makes sense. Like, just chopped up dill.
Right, like if somebody could, here's the thing. If someone could make a spicy relish out of bread and butter pickles, it's closer to that.
Yes, yes.
Because you don't get the dill
good.
flavor at all. But it's not like a super sweet flavor either. There's more jalapeno than there is sweet. But at the same time, though, it's so sweet.
And then he recommended people put it on peanut butter and take the jelly out and do peanut butter.
Nah, was that Frank or was that Ryan?
Yes, and I'm like, oh, are you for real right now?
So Frank can sell, man. I tell you, I could put Frank on a corner with, just selling shrimp out of a trunk. Frank, that dude.
Or steaks out of a truck.
Yes. Yeah, I would buy steaks out of a truck. For Frank, for sure. That guy can hawk something, man. That is when you think of the vintage salesman, like that is him to a T. So good. Oh man. By the way, if you didn't want to order online, I recommend you can order online, sure, and use the promo code TALK to get yourself 10% off. Or you can swing by Mathern's, because they carry the Raging Cajun products at Mathern's. In fact, if you wanted a little starter kit like that, the first thing I would start with from Raging Cajun is the Raging Rice. I love a good dirty rice. Throw some ground beef in there. Shout out Beef Industry Council. Throw some ground beef in there, and it's a fantastic, easy to make meal. Look, we're in the midst of. There used to be a time where summer was slower than the school year. I want to talk about getting the kids everywhere and making a good dinner. Summertime now is equally as hectic as the school year is.
Yes.
So finding convenience where you can, Raging Cajun does that. And they've got it at Mathern's. All 3 locations of Mathern's, by the way. And when you download the Mathern's Rewards app, you can knock out all your grocery shopping. Just clip the little coupons as you go through. This week you can get a free Kraft barbecue sauce along the way as well. And then, the good old bomb pops are in there. You got the all the fixins as 4th of July gets closer, whether you're talking about bacon brownies or a number of different items for when you're prepping to throw things on the grill. They've got the coupons built in there. Actually, as I'm scrolling down through my coupons, I'm finding so many more from $1 off laundry detergent, $3 off Tide laundry detergent. How about that? And you clip the deal, and when you're checking out, they scan your barcode, and it takes care of it for you. The Mathern's Rewards app is one of the most user-friendly apps around, and dollar for dollar, you get paid back. you earn your dollars, you earn cash towards more groceries, and you get your dollars. It's pretty great app, and it's good at all three locations: downtown on 3rd Street, Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, or the OG location is back, Mathern's at Kenilworth. We are. Oh, by the way, Brie Lynn, is it too soon to start promoting this week's Foodie Friday?
No, not too early. What is it?
Is it too soon to have Rocco back in studio?
Oh, please. We got to have Rocco back.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're coming on the 4th of July.
I know. I'm curious to see what he's going to do, celebrating the our nation's 250th birthday. So
he's going to create something
outlandish
on paper, but it's going to taste
He
phenomenal.
told me on Saturday to buckle up. So.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, rewinding back to last Friday, Louisiana Work Secretary Susie Showen was on with Daniel Erspamer. He was filling in for Moon Griffon. I think we can all, if we look back on this last legislative session, and I know I've said it 100 times, the Louisiana Workforce Development Department, or Louisiana Works, was the superstar of the session. Susie Showen was the belle of the ball. Every time you turned around, workforce issues were getting cleaned up. Last year, it was the one door, where the tagline kind of informally became being unemployed shouldn't be a full-time job. The one door program streamlined everything to help free up time and resources to help people looking for work find work. Well, this year, there were a number of other workforce bills that made their way through the legislative session, and we'll continue to unpack the session probably for 2 more weeks before we're all done and break down some of those bills. Well, when Secretary Showen was on with Daniel Erspamer on Friday, he's already looking ahead to the next session, saying, what's next for Louisiana Works? Cut one.
There's a great deal that we are working on right now in terms of fraud prevention, and I think in the next legislative session, we're going to bring some things around.
Fraud prevention. Great. That is awesome. We need that. I don't know why, what's going to take actual legislation versus what is current law right now that just needs to be further enforced. We'll get Susie back on, break down the difference there, because you can always firm things up through the legislative process, and she has done a lot to streamline things, and once they're streamlined, now you can, that sunlight will be a disinfectant. Everything that's been streamlined will make transparency that much easier to find out where all the fraud is. Now, before you get to the legislative session, what are you doing between now and then?
But really what we're focused on right now with the policies that we're talking about is preventing waste. There's a lot of layers of bureaucracy that don't have to exist. And so getting rid of that is going to mean more of the dollars go to the people.
I love that answer so much. I love that answer on so many levels, because when you talk fraud, waste, and abuse, we have a natural inclination to want to point the finger at somebody individually. We have a natural inclination to want to say who's doing wrong. And if you heard her right there, she said layers of bureaucracy, right? Sometimes it's not a matter of pointing the finger at one guilty party. Sometimes it's a matter of breaking down the whole system that has been built up over years. And when you have a system built up over years, the bureaucracy itself is the guilty party. Cut 3, please.
I think people often, when we talk about fraud, waste, and abuse, right, people really sort of mentally hone in on the bad actors, the people doing it on purpose. The problem with bureaucratic systems is they perpetuate the system, and the waste becomes sort of part of the system in ways that's really hard to root out without dramatic change. So that's what we're doing.
One of those items, and this is something that's been coming up for years and years and years, is when you're budgeted for something, you have to spend your entire budget or else your budget would get scaled back. So how many different departments would make those last-minute, Office Depot trips? How many different departments would find ways to extend dollars to make sure the budget doesn't get scaled back so that you don't lose budget the next year? That's part of the problem, and that's part that Susie's helping, or Secretary Showen is diving into, literally right now, between now and the next legislative session. And, oh, by the way, finding out where if you've got, 5 people doing 2 jobs, well, why aren't 2 people doing 2 jobs? That's sort of streamlining as well. Things that have been built out over the years before there was an internet. Things that have been built out of the years before there was AI. things that can be streamlined, things where a computer can do a better job, or if at the very least free people up to be where people need to be. So good stuff from Susie Showen last Friday on with Daniel Ersbaumer filling in for Moon Griffon. We'll talk to her in the very near future as well. Right now, we're coming up on 647 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We've got a quick break, and we got Moral Dilemma Monday coming up next. Yeah, the hotline's still. Okay. Yeah. Regular's fine, yeah. But like everybody who has, like when I call ABC, they have the hotline number. There's ABC, Our Lady of the Lake, like the stack of them that have the hotline number, and I have the scramble on the back end. The good news is that's the only one today. Everybody else has a regular number. So.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
Well,
You're back Friday, but I'm glad you're back.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. I heard Wade knocked it out on Tuesday.
Wade was phenomenal. Haggai.
Haggai?
Haggai was good.
Like, but I'm used to it from Haggai. Haggai's a solid double to the power alley.
He really went down and talked about AI and then like jobs growing and just like it was just different.
Yeah.
It was different from Haggai. And Franz was just fun. That made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Wade was. If we can have Wade back.
I can tell. So I don't know what my plans are through July. I'm hoping to take more time off in July. God willing, with the storm season. I know on August 20th is going to be a travel day for me, and I actually reached out yesterday. I can't say. I don't want to say publicly. Not even on. Do you know what? Huh? No. That's August 20th is a travel day for me between LTA and Legislator. I'll be going from New Orleans to Lake Charles, and honestly, sleeping in that morning because I go with all of my travel people. The guest host that I have for Thursday, August 20th, it's not confirmed yet, so I can't say it out loud. But if it doesn't come through, here's your tease. If it doesn't come through, I will be sad. No, you didn't hear me. Okay.
Woo! Really? Both of them?
Not yet, but yes. Yes, but no, but yes.
Woohoo! It's gonna be a party.
Oh no, I know. Well, that's the plan. Is like, let's keep things fresh, let's keep things fun, let's keep it moving, let's do some things that people hadn't thought of.
So, when I was at KSB, our competition was Hot 107.9. DJ Digital, Chris Reed, they have reinvented the wheel several times. Now, if you go and watch their stuff on TikTok, Instagram, it's this. Now they're different. They're top 40. They're AC, hot AC, but they have this cozy setup, bookshelf. Cameras are like right on them. They'll get these influencers that come in and sit, so like they stay relevant.
Your money now.
And I hate to say it, like Bobby used to get on it if he's gonna stay, but I think he's trying to retire, so I don't think he cares anymore. So, but I was just sitting in like at midnight last night. I'm up and I'm like, what can we do with talk? What can we do with talk? Not that we want to like have an influencer because we want to stay news, but if we started having these maybe guests that came in and we talked about what are headlines we missed this week that people cared about or whatever. Like I don't know, but like if we they're leveraging influencers to keep them relevant. They make them way too much of their show, which I don't think we need to be doing that. But
We don't need to be doing that at all. That's
no, not like your everyday influencer.
we need to be the influencers.
I know, but like if
So no, the this is what we've built out is within the legislature is that's. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not trying to build out a morning zoo. There's no comparison between an FM top 40 and this.
that's not what I meant. Like not your everyday influencer. I was saying more like if we got like a Sapagate to come in for like a segment.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm just
it's
and I'm still fresh thinking that, but yeah, I was up at midnight last night and I'm like and once my brain gets going and it won't shut off.
Yes, we're not a music station, so we're not going to have a morning zoo. What is like 8 different microphones and everybody just chimes in whenever? No, I know it doesn't look like it, but I do go to pretty good lengths to prepare this. You know, I don't like, and when I'm like hear like the Kid Cradocks of the world where you've got 15 people who are just, I don't know who that cast of characters is anymore.
I don't either. I know they still have their thing, like Kelly Raspberry, Big Al.
Yeah,
But like they have so many other producers now.
I know. And it's all like, hey, everybody just talk whenever you want to, and we'll let the listener figure it out. It's not, I don't know. I don't respect that. I know that's me being a snob, but there's room for all of it on the dial. There's room for all of it on the dial. It's just not my thing. 652 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Telephobia? Is this a thing? Oh, my word. It is time for Moral Dilemma Monday. Gen Z and millennial professionals are avoiding phone calls. Are you ready for this? A fear of phone calls may be costing young workers raises and career opportunities. A new survey of 2,000 Gen Zers and millennials by the self-improvement app Rise Guide found that 42% don't answer phone calls, 58% script or rehearse conversations before making them. I have respect for that second end, by the way. The consequences may extend beyond anxiety. Among respondents who avoid spoken conversations, 78% say the habit has cost them earnings or opportunities. So Gen Z and millennials, they don't want to answer phone calls, not across the board, but a good half of them. And, I mean, we're looking around here and, like, take sales departments, take anything that you can do, you can move online through scripted AI, through that little bot that pops up in the bottom corner that says, how may I help you?
Yep.
Like
Live chat. Yeah.
The live chats and whatnot. We are blaming AI for taking jobs when maybe we need to start telling people answer the damn phone. Breland, I sent you the story last night. What were your immediate takeaways?
Well, my immediate I see the Gen Z and millennials. Hear me out, because in today's world, I'm getting these phone calls from these New York City, these 504 numbers, these spam callers. So I don't answer the phone unless I know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me.
Okay.
But now with the iPhone, I want to point that out. I think Android has this too. You can screen it.
Uh-huh.
And so a lot of times that screen comes in handy. Like if I know the pest control guy's calling, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And then it comes up on the screen part. But I will pick up the phone, is what I'm saying. So I see both sides. But if you are job hunting and really applying and you're doing 300 resumes a month kind of thing, and you're like, answer the phone. Know that you're going to have phone callers calling you.
Yes, and when you're on the job, if you've taken it, my first thing, and by the way, this is not, I don't believe this is a generational thing. Gen Z and millennials have defined this as being telephobia. That for the longest time that was just
they
called.
Have to have a name for something.
But it was called being an introvert.
Yeah.
It was called being an introvert for the longest time. And I would have to wonder, like, if you take a job in sales and refuse to answer the phone, and then wonder why you get passed over for a promotion, it's because you're not answering the phone. So why did you take a job in sales to begin with? Why would you take a job in sales if you're not a people person? If you don't look forward, if you're not Frank from Raging Cajun, like if you're not one who wants to talk to other people and sell them on something. Not even sell them on something that they don't need. Walk them through what they need and why. If you're not willing to do that, you're handing off your future to AI. You are handing off the future of sales. And, oh, by the way, every time it happens, you remember that game Kerplunk?
Yes.
With all
where you pull the stick.
Yeah, you got all the sticks
and the marbles.
and then like once the wrong stick is pulled out, all the marbles crash down. Every time you have someone doing this, you're pulling another stick out. Every time this happens, you're getting closer and closer to just all of it being AI and just ruining it for the rest of the class when it comes to sales. Now, I'm of the firm belief that we're never going to be without salespeople.
Yep.
To me,
Yep.
you know,
People want that relationship, that human.
yes, that
Factor.
human contact. Yes. And the ability to know not just what someone needs, but what someone wants, and how to make someone feel good about that purchase. How to make someone like have that comfort level to not have buyer's remorse.
Right.
To really explain, you know, what it is about your product or service that makes it special. That's something that I don't believe will ever go away completely. I think we'll actually rebound eventually. But as it stands right now, Jamie Campanella, a time strategist and productivity consultant at Rise Guide, said the convenience of technology now provides people countless ways to delay real conversations so that communication skills don't get to improve through practice. People are putting things off so much that it's just moving it all towards either text messages, Outlook appointment, like whatever that is going to avoid face-to-face speaking. So naturally, the whole trend is going to move towards how can we AI this, which I believe is just a trend.
People are just in this world right now where, and I'm guilty of this. If I have a busy day, I will say text me first, or I will. If I see it ring and I see it's a friend, I'll just say text me, you know, but I get all that. But
yeah, but like that's interpersonal relationships,
Yes.
though. You're not going to tell that to somebody.
No,
if
and
there's
not your
somebody
employer.
that wants to endorse your show
Yes.
on 100.7, you are not going to work it that way. Now, if it's somebody who already does endorse your show and you need talking points, you know, that's a different level of communication
Yep.
off of an already established relationship. So here's where we come around to the moral dilemma part. Is what's the best way to get over this? Because I'm Gen X.
Ooh.
I'm Gen X, so my
just
whole
say,
thing is
take
just
the call.
get over it. Just do
Yeah.
it. Face your fear and do it. Make it a practice of doing it.
Yeah.
Eat your vegetables, shoot your free throws. This is like this to me. Just the best way to get over something is to confront it repeatedly, like till it's natural, till it's second nature. So, what's the best way to get over this? I mean, am I just that unapologetically
Are you
Gen
that
X?
heartless, Brian?
I'm kind of am. I don't know.
The best way to get I wouldn't even go to therapy. I'd work it through, try to figure out like speech lesson. I don't know. Like, how do you get over that introphobia?
I don't know. And it used to just be called being an introvert, and now we're going to
Yes.
put another name on it.
Gosh, I cannot believe
42% don't answer phone calls. Now, I will say this. This is the cool part. The 58% who do a practice run, I love that. Anybody who works on any performative level, and a conversation is performative, anybody who works on that level knows it's beneficial. It's preparing a cross-examination as a lawyer. Oh, we got to get. Hour 2 is next.
Alan, join a club. Alan said he has a point. It's like a mailman being afraid of dogs.
What?
Alan, what?
You ain't got to worry about catching no dog. You got to worry about a dog catching your ass. Get up.
People are saying spontaneous calls are more stressful than breakups. What? You saw that part in the article?
Yeah.
What? No. A breakup's worse.
But my whole thing is like anything that is a conversation, a back and forth conversation, it is improvised. It is off the cuff. It is thereby performative. I completely agree with that. So if you're not I'll be honest, I rehearse this show to myself all the time. I walk through topics. I know I know how to refine my language and refine what I'm saying well before this show starts. You'd ask my wife, she walks into the office and I'm talking out loud to myself. And just that it's a natural part of wanting to get it right. I have no problem with the 58% who script out their conversations ahead of time. It's the 42% who say, I just won't have the conversation.
A lot of salespeople script out their stuff.
They should. They should.
When I first
'Cause-
started being on air, I scripted my stuff out.
You should ask yourself, what are they going to ask me in response to this? Is be predictive. Be your own AI. I guess that's just I.
Alan says you're just a seasoned professional, Brian.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to make that about me, but
We were just saying in general.
Jesus. Russell Honore on Facebook. Louisiana, why are we seeing more flooding? Is it raining more, or is it because we no longer run drag lines to clear the bayous and clear the culverts along the roads? When I grew up at Point Capee Parish, there were state road crews cleaning culverts, and many of the bayous were cleaned and dredged with drag lines. As I drive around South Louisiana, most of the bayous are overgrown with trees and filled with soil. I also see in East Baton Rouge continues to clear flood zones like Burbank and put subdivisions in known flood zones. No, we're not doing that. In fact, St. George just vetoed one. And then he tags all of the news outlets and whatnot. And so, yeah, it might have something to do with getting 30 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. That can cause flooding. And then like 100 comments celebrating him. Jesus. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Bree Lynn producing. We're starting off your 7 o'clock hour at 80 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. 180 Pros, not your IT provider, your IT partner. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Busy hour this hour. Dr. Curtis Chastain from Our Lady of the Lake, he actually joined us a couple weeks ago for Medical Monday to talk men's health, because it is Men's Health Month all June. And the folks at Our Lady of the Lake were like, you know what, we kind of like to run that back again. And I was like, no problem. So if you missed it a couple weeks ago, Dr. Curtis Chastain going to join us for Medical Monday coming up 10 minutes from right now. Also this hour, let's talk about drainage in Baton Rouge. The Red Eye had a great piece. I don't know if y'all following Red Eye yet on I get it in my email every morning. But where's the link here? There it is. If you visit redibr.com, sign up for the daily email. J.R. Ball, Mukulvarma, they're doing a great job of creating a new news outlet, a new local news outlet. And this coming from J.R. is the analysis. Stop paving the problem. Permeable parking lots won't solve flooding on their own, but they could stop it from getting worse. And then the article goes on, or the piece goes on to talk about the flooding problems and the drainage problems we have in Baton Rouge, and coming off some of the storms we had last week. I figured it was a good time to talk about that. Councilwoman Laurie White Adams going to join us at 7:35. That's all still to come. Right now, it's time for Top Stories and Trending. Shelby Bordelon from Sunshine is the new Miss Louisiana. She was crowned on Saturday night after 30 young women from across the state gathered in Monroe this week to compete for the crown. Bordelon, a graduate student at Southeastern Louisiana University, also won a $15,000 scholarship, with nearly $70,000 in total being awarded to different contestants. The Port Allen Police Department is investigating an early Sunday morning shooting that left one person injured. According to the department, the shooting occurred around 5 a.m. on Azalea Street. While investigating, officers located the victim suffering from multiple gunshot wounds on Highway 1 South. The victim was later transported to a local hospital in critical but stable condition. Following the investigation, officers said 5 suspects were arrested and charged. Authorities are still investigating a stabbing that happened on South Sherwood Forest Boulevard, left one person injured. The incident occurred around 5:30 p.m. yesterday. Emergency officials said that person was transported to the hospital in stable condition. This was Sherwood near South Harrell's Ferry, so that is just south of I-12. Sherwood near South Harrell's Ferry. Now, that is literally all the information we have on this. Motive, suspects, all that other good stuff, we don't know. Economic Development trade publication Area Development has honored Louisiana with the 2026 Gold Shovel Award, the third straight year it's earned that recognition. The publication uses an independent panel of economic development experts to evaluate the top 10 business development and business expansion projects in all 50 states, and Louisiana is once again in that number. Early voting for the June 27th election wrapped up Saturday. I was in that number on Saturday. And the numbers show a large drop-off compared to the May election. 151,637 voters in Louisiana have cast their ballots. That would be 636 if I hadn't gone. That's down by more than 100,000 from the May 16th closed primary.
Well, Iran's chief negotiator said late Sunday that Iran is ready to respond after President Trump's threat to take over Iran and control the Strait of Hormuz. This comes after Iran's president said his country would not give up its rights to enrich uranium.
That's the linchpin, though. That's the deal breaker.
Right.
There is no deal without that. So, you can hate Donald Trump all day long, but if there have been talks going on, and that was part of the talks, and then all of a sudden Iran says, no, that's not going to happen, well, you can expect a reaction.
Correct.
Now, it's probably an overreaction in order to get them back to the table, although I don't know how you're not going to have a home to go back to get someone back to the table. But, I don't know. I don't respond well to threats. I don't know how, if Iran wants to open up negotiations again, I don't know how they do it.
Right.
I'll blow you off the face of the planet. Oh, okay. If that's where we're going to be, then I have nothing to talk to you about. We've already determined that we're not going to talk
you're
here.
going there?
Right.
Yeah.
It's that level of just brazenness is just, that's not negotiating in good faith. That's negotiating. Now, to be fair, on the other side, if Iran is changing things behind the scenes that we don't know, and with a part of this that I hate is we don't know. We're on the outside, so we all get to speculate. And I guarantee you speculation derives from political affiliation. Yeah, and so if you hate Donald Trump, you're going to be completely on Iran's side here, and vice versa.
Right.
So
President Trump said Saturday afternoon that the U.S. Park Police had arrested multiple people he alleged were vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, which has been plagued with algae and peeling paint in the days since the Trump administration completed a costly renovation.
So, yeah, that as I recall, there was a very costly renovation that was just undergone here, and if I want to say there was algae built up in the pipes that actually came back out again, so they had to flush it one more time. But now people are tearing it up to make it worse again, just because they don't want Donald Trump to succeed on any level anywhere.
But now you're taking it to vandalizing history, which has nothing to do with Trump. But
Correct.
he renovated it. So
he renovated it, so we got to destroy it. That's the.
Gosh.
I know.
All right. Keir Starmer had announced he will resign as UK Prime Minister. Starmer confirmed on Monday morning that he will step down following weeks of mounting speculation amid falling poll numbers and growing unrest within the ruling Labour Party.
Yeah. So this will be the 6th Prime Minister in 10 years.
What a mess.
I know.
What a mess.
Can you imagine if LSU had 6 head football coaches in 10 years? You're essentially firing the guy every other year. Like, I don't know how anybody can expect their party to move forward or agenda to move forward, because this is within his own ranks. Oh, by the way.
Oh, wow.
This is within he's got the vote of no confidence. Well, it's not that to that point yet. He's stepping down before that. But it's within the Labor Party. So Keir Starmer, he says he's going to remain caretaker prime minister until his Labor Party chooses a new leader, with expectations growing that it will be former Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham. Burnham confirmed in a social media post that, quote, "I will put myself forward as part of this process." Former Health Secretary Wes Streeting, who was considered his main rival for the top job, said he will back Burnham. So it's looking like there's going to be a smooth transition here for sure. But it's his own party taking him down.
Yeah.
It's basically, you know how, like, if you don't like one thing that a Republican does, they become a rhino. Rhino. It's the most wasted term at this point.
Rhino.
They're a rhino. Republican in name only.
Yes.
We as Republicans have overused that term to it having no meaning. But at the same time, you're dissolving with your own party and you're whittling things down. That's what's going on in the Labor Party as well. So,
Gosh.
we are. Oh, you got one more, don't you?
That's
the third
it.
one?
That
was
was
the third
it.
one? All right.
That was the third one.
Well, then I need to tell you about Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com. There's branches around Baton Rouge. No branch within Baton Rouge itself. And that's an important part of this process here, because they are a community bank and they need to be in your community. If you visit LandmarkBankLA.com, hit up the About Us tab, you get the locations and hours. If you find Landmark Bank in your community, they are a part of your community. And they can help you within your community. I love this relationship building, because who knows better than someone who's part of your community how you can move forward in your community. Whether you're talking about borrowing, whether you're talking about investing, whether you're talking about saving, whatever it is that you've got mapped out for your future or would like help getting mapped out for your future, a member of your community is there to help you do it. And they care because they're in the community. You're not just some line item from a Midtown Manhattan tower. You are a part of their community, and they're a part of yours. Learn more at LandmarkBankLA.com.
It's time for your weekly checkup. This is Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake Health.
Hitting the hotline right now for Dr. Curtis Chastain. I love when he's in studio, but the folks at Our Lady of the Lake are smart enough to know that he and I would just cut up too much. So we've got him over the phone. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, Brian. Thanks so much, and thanks for having me.
Always. We don't do this enough, man. We got to talk men's health. It's actually Men's Health Month, as it would have it. So let's talk about this. Let's start with the importance for men to at least think about their health along the way, every age, not just when something goes wrong.
Well, Brian, look, I'd be happy if men thought about themselves at all. You see, we're all experts at thinking about everybody else first. You know, our families, our jobs, other responsibilities, and I say collectively, we don't really think about ourselves until a disease is pretty well established, like diabetes or hypertension or even heart disease. But, you know, those problems, they don't happen just overnight. There's plenty of time to find them and do something about them before irreversible damage occurs. So at any age, it's important to see your doctor and look for these things before they become advanced and more difficult to treat.
And in some ways, Dr. Chastain, the slow ramp up is actually worse for us. I mean, if there was like a better wake-up call along the way. It just we can tend to find ourselves in I'll put it off till tomorrow or I'll worry about it tomorrow scenario.
Well,
whether you're talking about the heart issues or
feeling fine is not the same as being fine, and it's the same reason why we take our cars in for routine maintenance even when it's running just fine. We get it checked out, but somehow we don't do that for our own bodies.
We got Dr. Curtis Chastain on with us. This is Medical Monday, which is, of course, presented by the folks over at Our Lady of the Lake. All right, so let's talk about feeling fine, but sometimes symptoms pop up. What are some of the symptoms or health changes that men should not be ignoring?
Well, obviously, chest pain or chest pressure that occurs with exertion, shortness of breath, those are the obvious ones. Blood that shouldn't be where it is, but the ones I worry about more are the symptoms that men tend to blow off, like fatigue that doesn't make sense, or weight that keeps dropping for no good reason. You stop breathing at nighttime, a wound that won't heal, or a mole that just doesn't look right. Those are signals that your body is sending, and men are experts at ignoring these symptoms until that signal is too loud, and it's too loud to ignore. And by that time, men are behind the 8 ball, and it's really tough in medicine to play catch-up.
How dangerous is it that most of the symptoms that you'll come across, I mean, a mole would be something different, but most of the symptoms that you come across, like you mentioned fatigue, okay? Most men, we go hard at work on a regular basis. An 8-hour day is a thing that was a thing of myth. So we could see ourselves being tired for no reason because you get more tired than one night's sleep will fix.
It's the guy that suddenly has fallen asleep at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at meetings, and he never did that before. Mm-hmm. That's the guy I want. That's the guy I want to talk to. It's not just your run-of-the-mill fatigue because I worked hard at the camp this weekend. Right. No. It's routinely I can't stay awake in the middle of the afternoon.
You mentioned inexplicably losing weight. How do I sign up for that?
Get in line, man. I mean, there's no secret recipe out there, no pun intended. I mean, everybody knows what needs to do. In fact, all healthy lifestyle habits are great, and every study that I've ever seen says that going to the gym, diet, exercise, sleep, all those things save lives, meaning you lead a healthier life. But here's the trap that I see from time to time. The guy that's trying to beat the system, he knows his father had heart disease. He knows he had high blood pressure, and he's gonna beat it. So he goes to the gym. He watches what he eats. He feels great, and he says to himself, "I don't need a doctor. I don't need a doctor. Look how healthy I look." Brian, I can't tell you how many in-shape men that I've diagnosed with severe heart blockage and other serious problems that are hiding under a so-called healthy body. You know, those healthy habits like diet and exercise, they're important, but they do not replace a good checkup.
Dr. Curtis Chastain's with us talking men's health during Men's Health Month with Our Lady of the Lake from Medical Monday. Let's talk about those four different lifestyle habits: diet, exercise, sleep, and stress. A lot of this, there are controllables we can control, and there's some that are out of our hands. But talk about the importance of managing each.
Well, everybody's got their thing. And if I had one question that would be important to me to target what Brian Haldane is at risk for, I would ask you, tell me about your mom, dad, brother, and sister.
Mm-hmm.
What medical problems do they have? And suppose you tell me that my mother had type 2 diabetes. Well, all of a sudden, diet and exercise moves to the forefront of something that you and I are going to talk about. Because if you want to bend the curve, as you guys like to say in business, and reduce your risk of developing diabetes or if we want to run out the clock on diabetes, we got to get your weight under control. We've got to get your diet under control. And so we specifically target things based on your genetics. You can't run from your genetics. You just can't.
What about on the sleep and stress end?
Sleep is probably the most underrated thing in medicine. And if you could get good sleep, you're going to have less stress. But it's something that, especially in days of social media and all the things going on, that sleep just takes not even a back seat. I'm talking a back seat. And I believe that there's an epidemic of sleep deprivation going on in this country, and it's leading to all kinds of things. So I really talk about sleep a lot in my clinical practice. Back to that guy who falls asleep at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All you have to do is look at his lifestyle and find out that he's not going to bed until 12 o'clock, and he's waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he can't go back to sleep again. And it happens night after night after night. So if you can fix sleep, you can fix stress.
Doing my best not to feel 100% triggered. We're talking with Dr. Curtis Chastain. Look, I'm that guy, though. I mean, you talk about lack of sleep and a sleep epidemic. I actually want you to expound on it a little bit, because I think there's a lot within there. Because we see so many products on the counter, over the counter. We see so many products everywhere we turn that either keep you awake or put you to sleep, and it all, every step along the way is like an overcorrection.
I'd say 5 to 1. It's not that men have trouble falling asleep. It's men have trouble staying asleep. That brain starts kicking at about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. But if you go back, you find out that they had a meal at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Maybe they drank coffee. Maybe they had a dessert with sugar in it at 8 o'clock. All these things matter. We can get into the iPads or the phones at nighttime and all that stuff. Everybody knows that that's going to keep you awake. Anything that stimulates adrenaline, you may fall asleep, but you're going to wake up again, and that's the thing that we have to work on. Now, you've got some organic problems that'll happen where you got prostate enlargement that makes you wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and those are other reasons we might have to work on why you can't stay asleep throughout the night. But my goal is to get people to sleep with 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep every single night. And that's not a lot, 6. I mean, you're doing really well if you're getting 7. But it's tough. It's just tough in today's world. And I hate prescribing medication. I really do. There's some very good natural things that anybody can research and figure out how to sleep better. But most of all, it's going back and looking at your time from the time you get home in the afternoon till the time you go to sleep. What are you doing in those 3 or 4 hours that may be causing the problem?
So you mentioned screen time, you mentioned the caffeine intake, you mentioned the sugar intake, or anything digestive after a certain period of time. But what about on the other side, the when you take products that help you to sleep, do they really help you sleep, or do they just knock you out?
They knock you out, and it should be a temporary bridge. Of course, there are patients that have medical problems with sleeping, but we're not talking about these people. We're talking about people. But the problem is, you get them on a medical bridge. That medical bridge becomes so good, they never want to get off of it.
Right.
And even though you might, and it's really not a good thing, because you need. It's very important to learn how to sleep organically again.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's good, it becomes a dependency.
I mean, walk around the block a couple times after dinner. Burn off those calories and really, expend a bunch of adrenaline, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's easier to go to sleep. It's easier to stay asleep.
Got just a couple
But
more.
who does that when there's a game on?
Well, nobody, absolutely nobody. Forget about the game. Just doom scrolling TikTok at this point is going to keep you on the sofa. We got just a couple minutes left with Dr. Curtis Chastain talking men's health, as this is part of Men's Health Month with Our Lady of the Lake. Why is it important for men to establish care with a primary care provider, even if they're feeling healthy?
We kind of touched on this, but here's the bottom line. If you're meeting a doctor for the first time, during a serious health issue like a heart attack or intestinal bleeding, you're starting from scratch, man. I'll tell you that the most important part of your health journey is your relationship with your doctor. No different than a consultant in a business or anything like that, but a doctor who knows your medical history, your family history. He or she is going to catch things early. So for everybody listening out there, start that relationship now while you're healthy. Don't wait until you get sick.
When you establish that relationship, what kind of routine screenings or checkups should we be prioritizing?
In my mind, there are three. You know, heart attack's the number one killer of men in this country. It's 179,000 men die every year of sudden cardiac arrest. Let me put that in perspective for you. That's 2 Boeing 737s fully loaded, crashing, killing everybody aboard both planes every single day. And for 40% of those people, their first symptom was they dropped dead. So, being that heart attack is the number one killer, a $100 coronary calcium score. That's coronary calcium score. It's $100. It detects heart blockage early. Ask your doctor about it. The second would be a colonoscopy. Nobody listening to this show should ever die from colon cancer. Colonoscopy is the only cancer screening test that cures the cancer that it's actually looking for. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
And third, a prostate exam and a PSA in men over 40. I don't care what color your skin is. Prostate cancer is the number 2 cause of cancer death in this country in men. If we can find it early, we can cure it. So those are the 3 things. Coronary calcium score, a colonoscopy, and a PSA and a prostate exam are the 3 biggest bangs for your buck as far as preventive screenings.
And the good news here is Our Lady of the Lake has their men's health clinic, which specializes in men. So, Dr. Chastain, tell us, where can folks go to reach out to find the men's health clinic to book an appointment?
We've got a website. Just go to the Lake's website, and you can find us easy or give us a call at 225-765-4400. We will be happy to help.
225-765-4400. He's Dr. Curtis Chastain. We always appreciate that time, man. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Always appreciative of the partnership with the good folks over at Our Lady of the Lake and the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady. That's what the FMOL stands for, Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to break for news, we'll break for traffic, we'll break for weather. Speaking of weather, we had some nasty weather roll through last week, and now I'm not even talking about the tropical storm. That was a big nothing for us, although 6 parishes in Louisiana did get hit pretty hard. But we had storms on Friday. We had storms on Saturday that caused some flash flooding, and we're going to talk about that with Councilwoman Laurie White Adams. Before we hit news, though, let me remind you about the folks over at ExxonMobil. Been in our backyard for more than 115 years, helping power Louisiana, helping employ Louisiana, helping bring energy to the world through oil and gas. And oil and gas has always been the backbone of their business, but as we move forward into the future, looking to the next 115 years, how does ExxonMobil evolve as the energy economy evolves? Well, that's going to involve carbon capture and storage. ExxonMobil wants you to know they've got a plan. We're going to do this right. We're going to do it safely. Learn more at aboutlaccs.com, aboutlaccs.com. That was technically a 45, not a 60. Laura's calling us. They do it so dignified in Great Britain. You expect him to actually take a cyanide pill right after talking. Just. It has been expressed to me that I am no longer worthy of breath. Very Hunger Games, you know.
Yes.
I shall now retire into the Hunger Games where I will be hunted. If not, but to take this, I shall put a revolver in my mouth and eat a bullet. Yeah, Facebook probably has no idea of context and might mute the whole thing because I just said that.
All they heard was, I'm going to take
Eat a bullet. Yeah. Oh my God, this guy just described 3 ways to commit suicide. And then he said suicide. There's Laurie.
Telephone is 73. Hi, yes, ma'am. We're in break right now. We'll be coming to you in 1 minute, 2 minutes, okay? Okay. All Facebookers. I'm going to take some cyanide.
736 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Before we dive into our next topic, I need a moment to tell you about the folks over at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website if you want to check them out online. Neurojust. If you or someone you know or love is battling with anxiety or depression and has been treatment resistant, meaning you don't like the way you feel or you're not getting the results you expected from the prescription meds, from the antidepressants, or you don't like going down the path of having to take a pill to make the other pill work, yeah, give Neurojust a look. 225-330-7382. They're not going to treat you with medication. They're going to treat you with what I would call physical therapy for the brain. I don't call it that. They call it that. I don't know why I said that was my idea. That's not mine. That's theirs. It's TMS therapy is what it's called. That TMS stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation. It is a very simple, non-invasive process, and they show results, y'all. 85% of folks who give the TMS therapy process a try show results, with huge numbers showing full recovery or remission, or just a change in the way that you see things. It's complex and simple at the same time. So let them explain it to you and not me. Give them a call, 225-330-7382, 225-330-7382, or just start off at neurojust.com. So if you haven't subscribed to the Red Eye yet, I recommend it. I read it just about, it comes out about 5:30 every morning, hitting my email. And they've had some pretty good pieces up so far. And J.R. Ball had a piece up recently talking about the stormwater problem we've got in East Baton Rouge Parish. I want to read one quick paragraph. East Baton Rouge Parish has a stormwater problem it can document down to the dollar. What it hasn't done is use the tools already in the books to stop making it worse, one parking lot at a time. This particular piece focuses on the parking lots, but I want to talk about the whole thing. So let's welcome in Metro Councilwoman Laurie White Adams to the show. Laurie, good morning. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm great, Brian. How are you? Did you have a good Father's Day?
I had a fantastic Father's Day. Actually, we had a fantastic Father's Day. I got to visit with an old friend that I haven't seen in years. He was just passing through town, so did dinner on that front. Was restful. Got a couple of really great gifts. So it was really, really good Father's Day. So thank you for asking.
Well, thank you for being one of the great fathers out there who makes our community a great place to live.
I appreciate that. We've still got flash flooding problems in Baton Rouge. We've got a stormwater drainage problem in Baton Rouge. I don't think anybody, turns a blind eye to that. But I saw J.R. Ball's piece, and I wanted to get your take on the piece. First and foremost, do we have an asphalt problem or a parking lot problem in Baton Rouge, or is our problem greater than that?
Well, I think our problem is greater than that. The article was really interesting and definitely caught my eye. That is certainly one of the things that I have thought as I have, parked in different places and driven around Baton Rouge. I would love to see us be able to move to, semi-permeable, parking lots in the future. I think it's a great way that businesses and homes can contribute to, being able to lessen our flash flooding, or really lessen our flooding.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, asphalt, pavement, it's just a part of the problem. We've done lots and lots and lots of work, and I certainly understand, Mr. Ball is calling for constant improvement, and I agree with him. Over the last 4 years, a lot has been done. The Stormwater Master Plan was a terrific study and a terrific roadmap for the future, and we have adopted all of the changes to the UDC, and probably that the plan recommended, and probably the most important one of those in my mind was the conveyance check. So now when a project, before it can be, finalized, an engineer has to, run the modeling on it and understand how the engineering, how it work, deals with the water. You cannot convey water from your property onto someone else's property, and an engineer, has to sign off on that and certify that's not going to happen. So that's a critical piece of making sure that new developments don't flood out old developments.
Right.
But I'll tell you that it's just a mix. It's a mix of developments that probably weren't built the way they should have been built years ago. We certainly, you want to see your town grow, right? You want to see constant development and growth, because if you're not growing, you're dying on the vine.
Right.
But of course, it's got to be done in a responsible way, And the projects I've seen in my district have been done in a responsible way and have actually made drainage better around them. In the recent projects I've seen. Now, there's some older projects that happened that didn't have the modeling information and may have caused problems, for other people. So it's trying to fix the sins of the past while at the same time prevent future problems. And in a challenging atmosphere. I mean, how many 1,000-year floods can we have, Brian? How many 500,000-year floods can we have?
No, that's a great question, and you follow that up with when you have a 1,000-year flood like we did in 2016, and then again in 2021. When you have that kind of downpour over that period of time, and I know those were two completely separate instances and two completely separate circumstances that brought about the flooding, but nonetheless, we did see the flooding as a result of it. It just when you have today's downpours, or as former Mayor Broom used to call them, thunderstorms on steroids.
Yeah.
When you have that as a result, there's only so much that capacity can do. There's only so much that whether you've got, concrete underneath your feet or some other form of terra firma that would soak things in, a deluge is a deluge. There's, you're not going to soak it all in no matter what.
And look, I'm sure everybody in Baton Rouge joins me in looking at the pictures and reading the reports out of Avoyelles Parish. I can just, I can barely stand it. We know what that feels like. We know what that looks like. And it's really hard to watch our fellow Louisianians go through what they're going through right now.
Yeah.
So the people of Baton Rouge, I know, are praying for the people of Avoyelles Parish, and we'll be sending help and aid where needed. But yes, it's a holistic picture. Is pavement, concrete, is impermeable services part of the problem? They're a piece of it. And do we need to constantly be finding ways to do better? Absolutely. And I don't think this. I think I read somewhere. It may not have been in Mr. Ball's article. It may have been from a constituent email, because I've received several constituent emails recently because the May of 21 flood we just had the 5-year anniversary, and we're heading into the 10-year anniversary of the 2016 flood, and so people are just stopping and taking measure and want to make sure that we're doing everything we can. I've had constituents ask, does this administration, have stormwater, management as a priority? And so, I would say it's not an out front priority, but the same people in the administration who've worked diligently over the last, 5-6 years that I've been in office to try to make sure that these flooding events are mitigated as best as possible are still working on behalf of the city parish. One of the things that I think has been really difficult, the Stormwater Master Plan, when it was rolled out, had a $1.5 billion price tag. That price tag has only risen. And our community does not have $1.5 billion sitting around to invest in all these projects. We do continue to apply for funding for projects that are included in the Stormwater Master Plan. Federal government, a lot of that's federal government funding, and that funding has been moving. Look, the federal government moves at a glacial speed anyway, but then, over the last couple of years, there have been a lot of changes, and funding has moved even more slowly. So, I'm constantly checking in with Fred. Have we gotten any grant proposals back? How does it look? But we, every time I ask him, we have at least $100 million worth of grant applications out. And those are things that the public doesn't, see or read about on a constant basis. But that's the work that's going on behind the scenes continuously.
How much should we be chasing the clearing and snagging versus chasing rebuilding things the right way and kind of retrofitting all of Baton Rouge that was built, on the previous, with previous no plan to match up with the current plan? Because I feel like this is one where we're constantly going to be, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Sure, I understand that completely.
Or robbing Peter to pay Fred, I guess.
Yeah.
In this case.
Now that is accurate. So a couple things. I would tell you that the capacity building projects for stormwater are critical. And so we have to do both at the same time. Now, the snagging and clearing work that has been done has taken out tons and tons and tons and tons of debris.
Yeah.
And we see our stormwater system operating so much better. I mean, as a council person, I had PTSD every time it rained because I had certain areas that didn't drain well. And, everybody else was coming in from the rain. I was getting in my car to go drive out and watch these areas and see what was happening and how the system was performing. And I can tell you now, I don't have to do that during rains. I do go out and monitor wards because wards is a big drainage channel in my district.
Mm-hmm.
But our stormwater system is operating better. We've got to have consistent funding to continue to clean it out and keep it operating well. But then we do need millions of dollars and tens of millions of dollars for different capacity building projects. Wards Creek has a bottleneck in it. We have gotten the money allocated from the federal government to fix that pinch point. And it just takes a while to get the engineering done and work with the Army Corps of Engineers. So there are capacity building projects that are out there being worked on right now and will come sometime in the future. And we need to continue to find funding to build capacity because capacity is really what's going to help when we have these just 500-year rains and 1,000-year rains. I mean, and look, is it going to keep everybody from flooding or anybody? No, it's not. I mean, we live in Baton Rouge.
Right.
The rains are going to come and we're going to have flooding. I'll tell you the one thing I am seeing happen in my district, in some of the repetitive loss areas, homeowners have been able to apply for funding to raise their homes.
Yeah.
And so we're starting to see the first of those homes be raised. But, this is a continual thing. Even though I know it's not in the news constantly and people aren't reading about it or thinking about it constantly, I think those of us in office and those of us down at City Parish, it's never far away from our thoughts and trying to figure out how we get the funding and the projects and get the community buy-in with not putting grass clippings and leaves and other items in the drains. That never is far away from our thoughts.
So address that if you could. By the way, Laurie White Adams, Councilwoman, she was on the Stormwater Advisory Committee that helped come up with the master plan a few years ago. Laurie, how big of a problem is grass clippings? Because to me, the litter is a bigger problem, and to go along with that, when you see a creek full of mattresses, don't blame the guy who cut his lawn.
Right.
Is that really the crux of this whole thing? Is people cutting their lawn and blowing it down the drain? Certainly a mattress. I had one gentleman explain to me he watched a fridge get deposited in the channel behind his house. Certainly those things that can cause, occlusions that can literally block pipes from being able to function. Those are a bigger deal. What happens with the grass clippings and the leaves is they just form concrete. They just over time form concrete. Are they a problem right in this moment? No. Over 5 or 10 or 20 years, do they become a massive and very expensive problem? Yes. So as much community ownership as we can get is great. And look, Brian, we've made tremendous, when I look at all the litter pickup groups and Keep Tigertown Beautiful is out there every day picking up litter, and I see more average everyday citizens taking ownership of that problem and picking up litter. We're making massive strides. Can we give up or let up? No, we have to continue. It's just part of living in Baton Rouge and part of our civic responsibility to constantly realize every piece of trash you see, pick it up, put it in a receptacle, because one day, it could contribute to a problem that floods a friend or a family member of yours. Well, and the problem is that even as it gets better, and thank you so much for the time. Councilwoman Laurie White Adams, thank you so much for hopping on this morning. I appreciate you for sounding off with so much background on this topic.
Take care. Talk to you soon.
You too, absolutely. And one of the problems is we don't live in a vacuum where you have flash flooding one day and it's a constant, PTSD from all the flooding in the past. If it happens less, or if it happens less frequently in fewer places, it's still happening, and that's adding on to all the memories of other things that have happened to go along with it. So there's a buildup of our own perception as well as things move forward. I'm not trying to downplay the topic, but at the same time, we do need to remember that it was just a couple of years ago that a plan was put in place, and we're working towards it. Quick break. We got This Day in History next. I think she's featured today. If for no other reason than I'm going to comment on JR's story on the Red Eye with that interview. So, kind of, hey, look, we're moving somewhere. By the way, people don't like me. That's fine. Oh. I haven't even looked at BREC Room yet. Yeah.
They're bringing in Ray Harrell to talk about BARC and operations and how they're dropping millage.
Okay.
I'm assuming this will be our last week with this, right?
I don't know. I think they're going to want to keep it on, like, because they bought the time, but.
Okay.
7:55 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got a stacked up 8 o'clock hour, which means we need to bump this day in history up to right now.
In 1870, President Ulysses S. Grant signed the law creating the U.S. Department of Justice on this day in history.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was way back when.
I didn't realize it was that recent. You would have think if we've got a United States from 1776 on, you would think the DOJ would have been one of the first things
right.
around.
Right. No. Okay. 1941, Operation Barbarossa. Nazi Germany and its allies invade the Soviet Union during World War II, making it the largest military operation in history.
Okay.
1955, Disney's The Lady and the Tramp was released in U.S. theaters. Yes, the spaghetti kiss movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's so notable. It's so, even my boys, they haven't even seen it, but I guess the kiddos talk about it in school. So when we were talking about the dogs and the spaghetti, they're like, oh, Mom, Lady and the Tramp. I'm like, how do you know about Lady and the Tramp? It's just known. It's just known, even if you haven't seen the movie.
Okay.
1970, President Richard Nixon signed an extension of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that lowered the minimum voting age to 18 in 1970.
Lowered it.
Lowered it.
Okay.
Lowered it to 18, yeah. In 2001, The Fast and Furious opened in U.S. theaters, launching one of the biggest action franchisees in movie history. That's all I got. What about you?
Oh, well, so sorry. I had a couple of birthdays and a birthday and a death. But yeah, 1 year ago today, LSU took home another national championship in baseball, beating Coastal Carolina 5-3. Yep.
Making me sad. Happy, but sad that we're not in it this year.
Well, yeah.
All right, birthdays.
And this day in 1986 was Diego Maradona's famous Hand of God play. I figure should make a mention of soccer since the World Cup's going on.
Yeah. Birthdays, Meryl Streep, 77 today.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper is 73 today. Carson Daly's 53.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have. That's notable enough.
I got a couple. We got born on this day in 1947 was Pistol Pete Maravich.
Oh,
That was the one I had.
okay. How did I miss that?
I don't know.
Notable deaths. Judy Garland.
Okay.
She passed away at 47 years old. You know what? I have a few more in here. Well, okay. Dennis Day, age 72, known from the Jack Benny program. Pat Nixon, the former First Lady of the U.S., President Richard Nixon. That's all I got that's notable enough. What about you?
Yeah, this day in 2008, George Carlin.
And James Horner. He was.
Oh, wait, hang on. And Fred Astaire.
Oh, okay.
Fred Astaire died on this day in 87.
And also James Horner. He is known for being the composer behind Titanic, Braveheart, Apollo 13, Avatar, and so many more. Many more films.
National Day?
Let's say National Kissing Day. I don't know if I like that. National Onion Ring Day.
We'll roll with the onion rings today. That works for me. National Onion Ring Day. We can go with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
A good blooming onion. I love a good blooming onion.
Absolutely. We're coming up on 8 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We'll do news, we'll do traffic, we'll do weather on the back end. We're going to talk with the folks from New Orleans and Company about a stack of topics. Alice Glenn is going to join us. Also next hour, we got Moon Griffon coming on at 8:15, talk about everything under the sun with Moon. And then we hand things off to the BREC Room. Looking forward to that conversation as well as we're talking parks strategy and the future. That's all coming up in the next hour right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Here comes ABC News. Yay. Okay. Nothing. I have duties outside of my job here that I'm the chairman of the Sherwood Forest Crime Commission, and we have a meeting tonight, and I don't.
Talk 107.3. Hey, yes, ma'am. We'll come to you in 3 minutes, okay? Okay. You're like, I don't want to do it.
that Alice? Dallas. German. Oh. 806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing. Starting off the 8 o'clock hour at 82 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. Is it time for your IT to hit a 180? Visit 180pros.com. Every so often we check in down in New Orleans with the great folks from New Orleans and Company, as there's always a lot going on. This morning, Executive Vice President Alice Glenn joins us. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Brian. I'm awesome.
Do we have
Great
Alice?
to be with you this morning.
There we go. There she is. Hey, glad to have you on, Alice. We've got so much we've actually got to cover, but I want to throw away everything else and start with what's super hot right now. The World Cup is going on nationwide. There are no games in New Orleans, but Houston and Dallas have, between the two cities, I believe, 15 games, matches, whatever. And I am seeing just an absolute ton of social media content being created by World Cup fans who are making a side trip to New Orleans. I've got to know, what did y'all do to market the World Cup to draw them away from where they're going in order to make that side trip down to the Big Easy?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Brian, and I'm so glad that you're seeing that. My favorite is, I think everyone's favorite, Freddie, the German World Cup fan, who's just the best. I mean, having literally the best weeks of his life, I feel like, at this moment here in the U.S. So I'll give you a little bit of our thinking, which is, it was really expensive, really challenging logistically, and frankly, our infrastructure wasn't quite up to the task to host a World Cup match. But what we know is that fans are coming in for games and staying for weeks at a time. Mm-hmm. So who wants to stay in Houston or Atlanta for 2 or 3 weeks straight, right?
Right.
So we knew that they would be renting cars, that they would be bouncing between, regional destinations. And so our strategy has been to target social media and other digital advertising in the cities where World Cup matches are happening and say, come on over, or in the airport, come for a night. It's an easy drive, even a quick direct flight over. And I think we're seeing that pay off with very little investment ultimately in comparison to some of the cities who have had to, build stadiums and do all of this other work.
No, absolutely. And we're seeing it, like you mentioned, the German who's taken, who's just gone completely viral, gone probably as viral as Josh and Jace went last year. Speaking of them, England is in Dallas right now, and I've seen a lot of people from England posting up in the French Quarter.
That's right. We've identified the international markets where we have the highest levels of visitation. Certainly England is one of those. There are several others, European, obviously Canadian and Central and South Americans. Australians really love New Orleans. A lot of cultural alignment there. They're a sports country. They love to drink and have fun. Just, really. So what we did was looked at the cities where some of those countries were playing and said, all right, this is going to be our, kind of our top 5 or our top 10 in terms of where we target our resources.
What are we doing to get Scotland down from Boston? Because if they drank Boston dry, imagine what they would do if they hit New Orleans.
Hey, look, I think New Orleans bars and restaurants are up to that challenge, don't you?
No, I completely agree. My only fear with bringing the Scots down here is if you move a road cone in New Orleans, you could end somebody's car with whatever that road cone was protecting you from. That's the only reason I wouldn't want. We could put out extra road cones if we wanted to. Just here, use these, guys. Use these. Don't take those. Those are there for a reason.
Hey, look, our new administration is making a lot of progress in, road infrastructure. So maybe we've got some cones to spare these days. I'm optimistic.
Fair enough. We can roll with that. We do have a lot of ground to cover. I can't mess around with the World Cup the whole time. The big thing coming up on the calendar, next up for New Orleans, the next big thing is Essence Fest coming up. We know that there were, a couple of hindrances last year. As I understand it, all that's been corrected.
I think Essence is going to have a fantastic year. They've got some awesome headline talent. I understand that ticket sales are pacing well ahead of last year. It's going to be a fantastic weekend here in New Orleans.
Coming up on 4th of July weekend, which is awesome because there's going to be a lot of 250 stuff going on as well. But as I understand it, the whole, the lineup for performances it has really stepped up. The lineup for all the meetings and conferences that go on during the day. And for those that don't understand, Essence Fest isn't just like a musical event. It's a whole cultural event.
That's right. There's certainly headliners and talent at the Superdome as sort of what you see maybe on the news or if you've been that you're most familiar with. But the entire convention center is programmed with corporate activation, seminars, and lots of other sessions worth a day trip just to come down. And that, for the most part, is all free. Live tutorials, consultations, there's fashion and makeup presentations, health and wellness, so much going on. And then activations all across the cities at other private events, restaurants, and other spaces.
Which, and I know this is stupid, but it's actually true, though. The amount of mileage that Essence Fest has gotten out of the movie Girls Trip that movie's probably getting on a decade old now, but it's airing all the time. Like, you turn on TBS, you're going to find it. That's one of the ways in which film can sell the city.
Absolutely. It was such a fun movie. I mean, doesn't it make you want to come to New Orleans? It's not a girls' trip maybe, but, seeing our city really, I think, put its best foot forward like it does in so many different ways, including over Essence Fest and the 4th of July weekend. Come and, stay for Go Forth on the River fireworks on the night of the 4th, and so many other things going on at our museums, at our hotels, pool parties. It's a great week to be in New Orleans.
We got about 4 minutes left with Alice Glenn, Executive Vice President of New Orleans & Company. I got to make sure we hit on at least 2 more topics here. First of all, James Beard Awards recognitions. Give me the recap.
Well, we always show up really strong at James Beard. This year, we were so proud of Chef Serene Mbe of Dakar Nola, who was named Best Chef of the South. Just a few years after Dakar Nola was named Best New Restaurant. We had a number of other chefs and restaurateurs who were nominated, who weren't ultimately selected. But again, like they say with all awards, it's an honor to be nominated. So just reinforcing the incredible talent that our culinary scene is continuing to grow across the city. And you know what? Summer is the best time to come and eat in New Orleans because you can get a reservation a little easier. Many of the restaurants are running specials, and so you can, taste more things a little more affordably. Definitely proud of our restaurants and chefs.
Oh, no, absolutely. I do want to get to Tales of the Cocktail before we get out of here, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention something that's still a few years away. For the first time since 2009, New Orleans is going to host the PCMA Convening Leaders. This is Professional Convention Management Association. These are the people that book all the conventions that go along with it. How big of a coup is that to bring that back to New Orleans, where like you get home field advantage? It's like hosting the Super Bowl and playing in it.
That's exactly right. It's a little bit of inside baseball for us here in the destination marketing and sales space, but it's absolutely the most influential planners, buyers. So if you're focused on getting meetings, conferences, and conventions to a community, this is the group that you want to talk to. So having them here in the city, putting our best foot forward and really showing them what's new and exciting in New Orleans is an incredible opportunity. We can't wait to host them.
Well, and what I love about this is it's not just a win for New Orleans. It's a big win for New Orleans for sure, but for everyone throughout Louisiana to have this within driving distance. This is big for Baton Rouge. This is big for Louisiana Travel Association. This is big across the board for the state.
No question. Most importantly, because the more revenue that comes through New Orleans goes into the state coffers, right? So
sure.
Everybody
Yes.
wins. But there's no doubt that people will be driving in, people will be spreading out around the state and really seeing what Louisiana has to offer.
Last one before we get you out of here. Tales of the Cocktail coming back up. Tell me about it.
Oh, my gosh. Well, my favorite times in the city are when we've got so many different events happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So last week in July, one of the best times to be here, Tales of the Cocktail. Literally anyone who's anyone in the bar, restaurant, cocktail, spirits world will be here in New Orleans. It's the same time as the Bocuse d'Or and the Pastry World Cup competition. So the best, fanciest technical chefs from North and South America competing. And X Games Championship happened at the Superdome, July 24th to 26th. All at the same time. Tickets available for all of them. Another fantastic time to come to the city.
Yeah, it's just so much going on every single time. We never get to all of it, but we did get to hit a number of highlights. Alice Glenn, Executive Vice President for New Orleans & Company. Appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Brian, as always.
Always. We'll talk to you soon. Yep. We're at 8, coming up on 8:16 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're running a little bit long, but I do need to remind you about the folks over at 180 Pros. 180pros.com is the website. 330-2200 is the phone number if you want to give them a call. 225-330-2200 if you want to give them a call. They are right here locally, which means a heck of a lot. I know when you think about your network within your small business, you might be thinking, it doesn't matter where my IT provider is because they could just dial in. Well, what happens when the whole thing goes down? What happens if you need somebody physically on premises? Do you want your livelihood subject to traffic on the Atchafalaya or on the Bonacary Spillway? Do you want someone who is a phone call away or a very, very short drive away? And oh, by the way, when it comes to your IT provider, wouldn't you much rather have an IT partner? That's what they do at 180 Pros. I give you a great example of this is when you have a partner versus a provider, you have someone who isn't just going to implement their standard cybersecurity. You're going to have someone who's invested in your cybersecurity. You're going to have someone who is banking their success totally off of your success. And we've seen some cybersecurity breaches in the headlines recently, whether you talk about locally or nationally. When it happens, you want the very best to take care of it. That's what you get with 180 Pros, 180pros.com. Call Moon on line 2. Well, can you dial long distance from line 2? I think so. Okay. I think I can dial long distance from all of them. Well, line 1 is getting that squeaky, whatever.
It was doing that to when he called somebody.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Call from line 2.
Hey, Moon. Good morning. I'm doing so good. How are you? How was your weekend? How was Father's Day? Oh my God. That was wonderful. Oh my gosh. That's so wonderful. I'm so glad. There you go. There you go. Oh my gosh. He won his fishing tournament.
No.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that, Moon. Okay, I'm going to drop you on hold.
821 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Ran a little bit long there with New Orleans and Company because we had a lot to cover, but that means we're a couple minutes behind. Let's get right to it. Moon Griffon, host of the Moon Griffon Show, joins us right now. You catch him at 9 to noon, not just here on Talk 107.3 FM, but statewide. Moon, how are you, brother?
Hey, Brian, great to hear from you, man. I'm doing super. Come off a great Father's Day weekend, and got to see all my grandbabies and everything. So, yeah, I'm on a high right now.
I mean, so Bree Lynn was telling me during the break, not only did you get to do a little fishing over the weekend, but you got to do a little winning.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, anytime you can fish a tournament and win one,
yeah,
I've won a pretty good number through the years, but they hard to win. And when you're driving home and you took their money from North Louisiana, it feels good to break it and spit it in South Louisiana. By the way, Brian, I didn't tell him that, though.
No, but it'll spend down here. It goes to, like, ultimately, it goes to the same coffers anyway, right? I mean, that state sales tax goes back to that building across town from me.
Yeah, I like to compete. Bass fishing is really the only hobby I got, and I still enjoy it. So I'm going to do it while I can anyway.
Absolutely. We got Moon Griffon on with us. All right, there's no way I don't talk about probably the biggest news of last week out of you, and we're endorsing candidates now?
Well, I've really what I did, Ron, in all fairness, I just said who I'm voting for and why.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been on an endorsement kick. I'm the one that said endorsements don't mean anything. I still believe that. All I did was I made the case why I think Fleming's the best person, and I think if Letlow beats him, which everybody thinks is going to happen, if Letlow beats him, then I'm going to turn around and be for Julia Letlow. I've not said one negative thing about Julia Letlow yet. There's some things to like, not to like, but you can do that with Fleming, you can do that with anybody. So I just made it a case that I think Fleming, and by the way, I owe an apology to John, because ever since I did that, here comes all the endorsements from congressmen and sheriffs and mayors and things like that, and I just don't like the dark money, Brian, and dark money has gotten nasty and nasty.
Pause on that for just a second, because I want to know what dark money is. How is it any different from PAC money?
With the dark money, we don't know who gives it. Okay, when you do PAC and dark could be the same thing, but when you do dark money, it's people giving. We don't know who's giving. And
but you know what PAC it's coming from.
Any kind of advertisement as a third party, but you don't supposed to be connected to the candidate.
Right.
Okay. And by the way, but if you look at the people that are running the PAC for Miss Letlow, if you look at running those dark money PACs, which is basically the same thing, they're all tied with the governor. They're all friends with. I know every one of them. They're friends with me. They bought a lot of advertisements through the years. I just think some of the commercials are way, way overboard and nasty. Can I give you one example?
Sure.
Okay. So did you see the deal with the bus driver with Fleming?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay. Well, they showed it here a lot, and it's about illegal immigration. They took a speech that Fleming made, and when he was saying, he said, we're going to bust illegal immigrants over. And then he went, I don't mean illegal immigrants, and everybody laughs. And he says, I mean legal immigrants that work with green cards to help our farmers. So they cut that off. They only used that part of it. Now, Brian, you and me been in the radio business.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has messed up words more than me. But they took it and stopped it and played that as a commercial. And they play it over and over again to make it look like Fleming is for illegals. He's high-fiving Nancy Pelosi and he's against Trump. That is a 100% lie. But those lies have been him. You saw the ads where they got him lobbying and they show 9/11 building blowed up. Don't you think that's gone too far?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of going too far on both sides of this equation. I think the AI
not
Julie.
On TV, Brian.
Do what?
Now, in social media, I'm not arguing, but on TV, those are TV ads.
Well, I
don't have the money to run those TV ads.
Well, it's a whole other discussion, though, isn't it? But I mean, the AI Julia Letlow ad, which lied and said she was appointed to her seat in Congress. That
was but Fleming didn't run that.
No, he retweeted it and said he stands by what's in it.
Well, he stands behind it because of the nastiness they're trying to run Fleming with.
Yeah, and we get to a point where it's everybody's pointing fingers back and forth at each other, saying, well, it turns into a schoolyard thing. Well, he did it first. Like
John, but let me tell you something, Brian. And I'm gonna be real blunt and tell him myself. when Luke Letlow died, and everybody likes to brag they knew Luke. I knew Luke. I was friends with Luke. I knew you.
Yeah.
And when they started getting rumors that she might run, I got on there and said, Julia, don't let people talk you into running. Go take care of your family. I said this on the air. Otherwise, Julia's never been on my program. I said, don't do it. Go home. People are going to use you. Well, she ran. Once she ran and won, I said, hey, good luck to it. Never said another word about it in 3 years. Okay? So it is true. Whether you like it or not,
nope.
Her losing her husband and her running went hand in hand. That's not negative. That's not ugly.
No, sir. No. Moon, what I'm talking about is that ad in particular says she was appointed.
Well, that whoever did that part of it was stupid. That was stupid.
Well,
but she had to win she had to win it. And
yeah.
She won it. She won it.
Yes, she did. And that's the opposite of what the ad says.
Well, once again, you're dealing with something that never hit TV. Social media is trash. You know it, and I know it.
Well, no, yeah, I know that, and the only reason it's not on TV is because there's not enough money to put it on TV.
I don't know. You might be right, but I don't know if that ever made. But it might have been run from a PAC or third party. I don't know if Fleming would have ran it or not. I don't know that because he ain't had that kind of money.
Oh. We got Moon Griffon on with us. So, Moon, look, you said, I love what you said to start off the segment, is if Julia Letlow wins on Saturday, you will be backing Letlow this fall.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are we at a point?
I never said a negative thing about
No.
it.
I know. But I want to talk about everybody else out there right now for a quick second. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This thing has gotten so nasty and so heated, and when you see and you look, I know you've publicly endorsed John Fleming, publicly said you're voting for John Fleming, but a lot of John Fleming supporters are saying Julia Letlow is quote Mary Landrieu in a different skirt. How do you put the horse back in the barn to turn around and vote? Not you in particular, but how do Louisianans who support John Fleming so strongly and hate Julia Letlow so strongly, how do they put the horse back in the barn to come back around this fall to vote for her?
Okay, this is what I like about closed primaries. You ready?
Yeah.
What I like about it, this is June, the election's in November. If you let things settle down, which they will, then I think you have enough votes for Julia or John to win the election. And I think that's the good. You got a little time. Tom's a great healer. And I think Tom will heal and people will go back and vote. If you were doing the race in 30 days, I think what you said, you're 1,000% right. Mm-hmm. If the race was going to be 30 days, but when this is over, I think you got a great point. But being from November, I think there are cooler heads than me that will go, you know what, we got to go win. We got to send President Trump a Republican. So I think that having the 5 or 6 months in between is going to be the healing process because it's not just this state that they do that, Brian. They do it in Georgia and Alabama and these other states as well where they get after each other and then they got to come back. So I think the closed primary, whether you like it or not, that's the part I did like about it. You have a little bit of time.
Yeah, I bring it up because now we're on the clock. Now we get to see if it's going to work the way it's supposed to. You know, now it's or not the way I shouldn't say the way it's supposed to. Now we're going to see if it's going to work that the way they wanted it to.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I just listen. It doesn't matter who I said I'm going to vote for. If you knew my track record, I'd have been better off saying I'm going to vote for somebody else. I lose most of the time because I can't beat the system. The system that's in place with everybody rallying behind is all the people tied to money. When I see sheriffs and mayors stepping up, I think they're getting phone calls saying, hey, I know you need this project, and boom, all of a sudden they're all out there. But like I said, I owe Fleming an apology probably because I ought to tell him I'm sorry I said I'm going to vote for him because since then it's been like nothing but people coming on and saying things. And maybe I shouldn't have said a word.
Well, then endorse Jamie Davis for the He's Moon Griffon coming up half an hour from right now. Always appreciate you, brother.
All right, Brian. God bless. Thank
Later
you.
on. Here's news. No lie, I've been looking forward to that conversation for 4 days. I don't know who was on this microphone on Saturday, but this microphone is not in the shape that it was in when I left it on Friday. show. Wait, what? Greenspan died? Shit. That happened this morning, yeah. I guess. Where's my stool? There it is. No. Well, no, everything was. Come on in. Frenetic. Yes.
How was your week last week, shoveling kids around?
Everything I hoped it would be. Just a lot of giggling coming from the back seat. Because once I was taking my kids, offer out to other parents, it's like, hey, I'm going this way anyway. Can we take your kid home too? And so.
Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're down to the wire.
Yep. Benefit or detriment that turnout for like early voting turnout is low?
I have
Yes. It's 8:34 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. And as we do on a Monday at about this time, we turn our focus towards our recreational department. That would be BREC, and we call it the BREC Room. We welcome back Janet Simmons and Maurice Velasquez. How y'all doing this morning?
Good morning.
Doing great. Good morning, and happy belated Father's Day.
Well, I appreciate that. And likewise to Maurice as well.
Thank you very much. Had a great weekend.
Good. Glad to hear it. We are... we're down to the wire. Early voting is closed.
Rounding clear.
Yeah.
Home. This is it.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, we hope we're sliding home. We got a lot to talk about. Let's start on that front, if we could.
Sure.
I think, how much has the informational campaign been a part of just, because you're not just, first of all, it's a renewal.
Right.
It's a renewal. It's a renewal. Like that, I don't know if you can hammer that home enough when talking about the millage. But getting that informational campaign out to talk about how much the ship has been righted and how much, like, everything from as simple as Imagine Your Parks 3, and we're going to get into where we're at on that front.
Sure.
But from, Imagine Your Parks 3 to catching up on the audits, getting the back of office in line with the front of office, like, as much has been done to right the path of stewardship. There's so many different items that need to be covered from so many different fronts. How's the informational campaign going?
I think it's going excellent. Everybody that I talk to is in support and in favor of moving forward with a positive impact for BREC. One of the things that I think is so interesting is the amount of stuff that we do. And I was thinking about that this weekend, about the number of kids that we have in summer camp.
Right.
We have 6,200 kids plus in summer camp. And if you think about that spread out all throughout the parish, the number of camp counselors we work with, the number of programs that we have it everything from cradle to 14 years old. Kids that have disabilities go into our adaptive camps. I mean, we provide camps for every single child out there. And it goes from extreme sports to art to theater to swimming. I mean, there's so much out there. And if you think about taking care of 6,200 kids, that's a pretty big burden.
Just one of the first numbers we looked at when we first got here was the number of volunteers.
Right.
Over 7,000 volunteers, and they're not just in the books, sitting on the books. They're actually engaged. So think about 7,000 volunteers on a regular basis being put to action. It's a lot of programs.
So look, I can tell you firsthand, as a father of three, I've sent all three of my kids to at least one BREC camp along the way.
Right. No,
and I want to say that, James went to the fewest, and he's been to three. So
my granddaughter's at Outdoor Adventure right now.
Yeah,
today.
It is
I've,
really remarkable.
I've been
when
in
you think
conversations where folks may or may not make the connection that I'm the interim COO for BREC and I'm in the room, and I hear the conversations being talked about from BREC. First of all, I hear more now than I ever have. So maybe because I'm involved, but it turns to be much more ongoing conversation. But what has been very encouraging is that a lot of what I hear people talking around me, they've been very well educated about recognizing that this millage is for certain things. It's for maintenance. And I haven't had to step in and correct folks. So I'm very thankful that the word has gotten out very consistently about the purpose and the goal and the reason for the existence of this millage, that it's for maintenance and operations.
Yes.
And folks seem to be catching on to that and understand what this is for.
Well, and it's really all you can hope for is accuracy.
Yeah.
And they're hearing what BREC is saying.
Right.
And not getting their information from a third
But if you
party.
look at the massive amounts of things that we do, the different things, so not just programming and not just programming for kids, but programming for adults and programming for seniors. And then you look at athletic programming, and then you look at any kind of sports programming, whether it's pickleball or tennis or soccer or football or
yoga.
We're going to talk about that later today. Then you look at the things that we do. So, for example, we are a landlord. We are a construction company. We are a maintenance company. We mow lawns. We're a landscaping company. We are a programming we're an education company. So the massive amounts of things, individual things that we do, is enormous. And I didn't realize that until I came into this position.
Right. Just how widespread
vast
it is.
we are.
Yeah. And then and to take it back around though, that's the day-to-day operations. Add those 6,200 kids on top of that for summer camp, and the logistics get really, really impressive.
Right.
So maintenance and operations, that's way to streamline the maintenance operations is just two quick words.
Pretty much everything we do.
Let's talk about Imagine Your Parks with the master plan and where we're at right now.
Yes.
Where are we?
Well, when we first got to BREC, we found, unfortunately, that BREC is very behind. Okay, there's a lot of, in many ways, it's very much ahead in a lot of construction. But when you look at all that's supposed to be happening, all that is scheduled to happen, there's a backlog. Okay, and unfortunately, several months of that discussion was, where are we with all the projects? Okay, here we are, a year later. All that's come out. We already have that. Okay, now what we're doing is we've been prioritizing so we can catch up, get ahead, move things forward, meet with all the mayors, make sure everyone's on the same page, and catch up to where it should be. So what we've tried to do is just change the conversation about project management to make sure that that BREC stops operating from a way behind 3-year, 2-year delay. Let's get ahead and actually let's stay on track. And so that's been our work to try to get everything up to current.
In order to do that, you have to reprioritize, and does something else get put on the back burner?
That's exactly
in
what
order
we've been doing for the past 7 months. Is exactly what we've been doing. Yeah,
that's. Because again, the logistics come up.
Correct. There's some things you have to absolutely do now. Some contracts have already been established. Shovels have already been break break ground. So you can't stop those. And then there's those that we're about to. Let's go ahead and discuss. This is still what we want. So yeah, the ongoing prioritization, the triaging started early in August, and we've been systematically getting it more and more organized to where now with the new administration coming in, we're going to be able to hand over to them the complete spreadsheet of everything that's on IYP3 that should have been added, that needs to be added, and requests that have come in since IYP3 because all it's changed. We have a new city, we have different needs.
Right.
You saw the perhaps the press announcement and press conference from
Up
Baker.
in Baker?
Yeah. So
look,
yeah.
that opened up so much.
I know.
We're talking turf.
I know.
We could.
But if you heard the conference, okay, if you heard the comments, they basically said, "Thank you, BREC, for finally being able to, dust off things that have been sitting. Thank you for." That's the point.
Yeah.
A lot of things have just sat.
Yeah.
Okay. Our job has been to unsit everything, clear everything off, and say, where are we, and is this still what we want? So meeting with the mayors to say, is this what you want? Meeting with the cities, meeting with the council, meeting with the community. That's been the hard thing, to basically make sure that IYP3 is still speaking to what we're supposed to be doing. So again, we hope to turn over a much more fresh and vibrant triaged project list.
Part of that is public safety,
Yes.
which has been, an evolving topic, a growing topic over the years, to be sure.
Yeah.
And BREC is not immune to having to face that topic. So where are we at with the balance there between making sure safety is a top priority while at the same time protecting privacy?
So public safety encompasses not just security, right?
Mm-hmm.
It encompasses taking care of the patrons in the park while they're in the park, whether it's making sure that we clean sidewalks that have massive amounts of goose droppings on them, right?
Yep.
And those kinds of things. 2, lifeguards in our swimming pools. And when I say that, I want to emphasize this, because our lifeguards are key to making sure that we have safety in our, especially in our aquatics.
Yeah.
And at Liberty Lagoon, it's amazing. Those lifeguards are there every day. Kids are dropping into the big 8-foot pools that can't swim, and they say they can swim, and those lifeguards are grabbing them out and throwing them onto, not throwing them, but putting them back onto the sidewalks to make sure that they can go back up and do it again. And I just think that we've been talking about public safety so much in the whole police and law enforcement realm, but it's so much more than that. It's making sure that our sidewalks don't have cracks in them so people don't hurt themselves. It's making sure that our parks stay clean, and our grass stays mown so we don't have snakes and all of those kinds of things. And here we are in Louisiana, alligators in water. I mean, is that something that's public safety? Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of day-to-day things, like making sure the gates are working, making sure that there's enough gates, make sure that we have the right people opening and closing gates, the hours, and just a lot of foot traffic functionality.
And making sure that our programming people know what they're doing. Look at Far Park, for example. You have a group of people that know how to take care of horses and know how to help kids mount horses and ride horses. What an important security thing for public safety, for the public.
And as far as our relationship with law enforcement, it's been great. Okay, we're meeting every week with them, and the relationship has really tightened between the sheriff's department, the police department, the police department from all the different cities, and as we get together on a regular basis. And we're right now aligning and collaborating on the proper protocol for safety, for security, for response time. And so you'll be hearing more and more about it in the next couple of weeks. But the relationship has really been opened up, connected, and it's working really well.
Let's pivot real quick. We like to have a different guest on every single week talking about the inner workings of BREC. This week, that guest is Dr. Ray Harold Lawson. He's the Director of Park Operations. Dr. Lawson, welcome aboard. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
Good. How are you guys this morning? Thank you for having me.
We're doing well on this end. I just want to start off with a very open-ended conversation or question, and just leave this out to you. Take it where you want to. Tell me about the day-to-day maintenance. Tell me about the day-to-day for a park maintenance worker.
The day-to-day of a park maintenance worker is definitely ever evolving. They have a plan in place when they get here, but I'll give you a situation this morning we're dealing with, and as Janet and Maurice alluded to about the safety, you asked that question, but this morning about restrooms, we take restrooms as a very high priority, but often or not, we have vandalism. So coming in this morning from a weekend, a very busy weekend, we're dealing with vandalism. Even though the guys have a plan in place, those plans often evolve into doing different things. But on a regular basis, we talk about the 3 T's: turf, trash, and toilet is the primary focus. And those things, again, are very much evolving on a day-to-day with the environmental conditions we're going through. We just went through with a high saturation rate. Being able to mow is a task in itself, and getting out there, putting mowers down, and not creating unsafe, conditions with ruts and turf and things like that for the patrons of the parish to deal with when they go out and try to recreate. Mm-hmm. So as Ms. Janet stated, it's a lot involved in it, but yeah, on a day-to-day, they deal with small-scale repairs of fences, doors, things like that, HVAC concerns, which, South Louisiana right now, HVAC systems are working overtime.
Right.
So trying to keep all of that stuff, up and going with 6,500 acres, 175 parks, that's a lot of ground to cover. In my realm or in my department, right at 100 and about 75-ish, team members out there doing it on a day-to-day basis, trying to do it for the parish.
Same question, this time just about the zoo.
Zoo is, we kind of support the zoo, or we support the zoo from a hands-on lens, but they have their own director. But day-to-day, same deal, dealing with the patrons, making sure they're safe, making sure everything works. The HVAC units, again, that's a big, big concern because they're just working overtime. But just making sure things, and we have different phases of the zoo now that are going on with the IYP3 plan and implementing those, getting those in place. But feeding all the animals, that's real important, and having the respective disciplines for that to be done within the zoo. That's a very big care model because that's a living organism as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just like people. So it's an ever-evolving thing. Again, I hate to keep using that word, but we come into new things every day, no matter what part of BREC it is.
A last one before we get you out of here. We got less than a minute to go with Dr. Ray Harold Lawson. You mentioned the deluge and the storms of the past week kind of cutting back on mowing or making it impossible to mow. Did we see any flooding that was needed a particular attention?
The zoo actually flooded just with the amount of water that came down in such a short amount of time. That drainage system was upgraded, but it was just a very, very large amount of rainfall that we got. That came down Frenchtown Nature Station. It also flooded. That's where the A meet and the Co meet. That water rose at an unprecedented rate, and in 16, that's what caused the flooding of that area as well. So we did take on some water there that we'll be doing some repairs to some equipment and some facilities there. But the zoo is open and ready to accept patrons for their pleasure there. But yes, we did see some. And up in the Zachary area, not too much. It just got high, but we didn't have any damages to facility.
Good stuff. He's Dr. Ray Harold Lawson. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Tell you what, we're going to pick this conversation back up in just a quick minute. We do have to check traffic real quick, and then we will continue. You are listening to the BREC Room as part of Mornings with Brian Haldane. We're going to talk City Brooks Park in a little bit. We're going to talk about International Yoga Day as well. That's coming up next on Talk 107.3 FM. And then we'll hit the spot 852 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. The BREC Room rolling right along as well. We've got Janet Simmons and Maurice Velasquez in with us for a couple more minutes this morning. I know we need to get to International Yoga Day. I understand that, but the headlines continue with the City Brooks Park master plan. What's next? Where are we right now?
So we have a community meeting coming up in July on the 14th at the BREC headquarters, and that we'll open the doors at 5, start at 5:30, and we're opening up to anybody that wants to come and voice their opinions about what they want to see there. But I'd like to say this about the City Brooks Park. City Brooks Park is only one park out of hundreds of parks that we have, and so it doesn't define what's going on at BREC. And I want people to make sure that they understand that that it's just one park out of many. And so the news has so much of this inside of it, talking about the master plan, but there's a lot going on besides City Brook Park.
No, I understand that, but the news has it that way because it is kind of the face of the whole thing.
Right now it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
But your point is well taken, though. There are dozens of community parks there, like you said, more than well over 100 properties all in.
Right.
BREC is so much bigger than just that one thing. But I mean, there's a lot of folks dialed in.
Yeah. A lot of people did.
Okay, so July 14th will be the next community meeting.
Yep, and it'll be we'll have open mic so people can come up and talk about what they want to see. We will limit their comments to 2 minutes because otherwise we would never make it through the people that wanted to give their opinion about what we're doing. There's a lot of signs around town that want to keep the golf course intact. There's some new signs going around saying adding on top of that sign to vote one way or another. Urge people to go out and vote, period.
Which is coming up on Saturday, so that's
Yep.
that vote's gonna happen. So that's that vote's gonna happen well before the next steps come through. All right, we've got International Yoga Day coming up. Tell me all about this.
Did you know that we have goat yoga? I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I had no idea.
We do?
Yes. We have goat yoga. So Saturday, June 27th, which is
Election Day.
Election Day.
Depending on weather, same time, 8 a.m. to noon. It's a free event, and it features yoga for all experience levels, plus wellness activities, vendors, live music, and food trucks. Attendees can participate in more than 7 indoor and outdoor yoga sessions, suitable for all experience levels. So I don't know if you've been involved in yoga or not, Brian, but it does.
Nothing was implied by that. Okay, I think it was
cold-blooded.
It's on the script.
No, it does challenge. It does challenge each one of us to, to learn how to, stretch our muscles, and it's a very small way of
Janet crawfishing that one back.
It's just a very small way of getting out there and using your body for exercise without actually having to run a marathon.
See, that's a TikTok reel. Brian Haldane doing yoga.
I would try goat yoga for
especially
sure.
if there's a goat on his back.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would
have
do
you
that
seen
in a
that?
heartbeat.
So, in
do
order to
goat
get back
yoga.
to script, no registration required.
So you just show up on Saturday.
That's right.
Show up on Saturday for goat yoga. Make sure you're nice and limber to cast your vote.
Just bring a mat.
Yeah, just
bring
make
a
sure
mat.
you bring your own equipment
Right.
and bring your mat, and then wear very, very comfortable clothing, and you can even be barefoot.
We actually did a half-day retreat for the executive team several months back, and we did a yoga exercise.
For about an hour, we did a yoga session.
It was awesome.
It was really good.
Really great.
Wait, I assume since it's goat, it would be at the zoo?
No. This is actually at Independence Park.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's not too far from me.
Yep.
It's great.
So, and then when we had the renaming of the Melvin Kip Holden Parkway last Saturday at the Kids Fest, which was not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before Kids Fest, they also had yoga out there, a yoga class during the Kids Fest.
Interesting.
So we had a whole stage area set up with a tent and with mats and everything, and anybody that wanted to participate in yoga there.
There's going to be a kids yoga as well.
Okay.
So not just for adults, but for kids.
Okay. Last one before we got about 2 minutes before we get out of here, and I just wanted a big zoom out,
Sure.
broader picture. Looking ahead, what does Better Parks, Brighter Future look like for residents?
So we're looking, again, it goes back to the streamlining of what we've been doing this year. And with the new superintendent coming in, the goal is to do less with less. So the idea is to make streamlining everything that we do to make it excellent. Not necessarily doing more, but just doing what we do really, really well.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea, is to have better parks and a better future with that streamlining of excellent programs, excellent parks, excellent facilities, everything that we do, cleanliness, security, all of the things that we've been working on, making sure that we're squeaky clean on our audits, our financials are tight, that we're on time for projects, all of the things that encompass what you can imagine doing all of those things we talked about earlier, being a landlord, being a construction company, being a cleaning company, being a landscaping company, programming, education, athletics, everything that we do, all of that is a part of being the best parks program in the nation. And right now, I believe we're pretty close.
I think we've turned the corner. Historically, BREC separated itself a lot from economic development, from partnerships with organizations. I think we've turned that corner, the internal culture and the mindset about that, because it's really part of a four-phase, right? You have parks, you have crime, you have schools, and you have economic development. So we're doing our part as part of that equation, because every city that wants to have a bright future, you have to have great parks.
One other thing that we've been doing is we've been working with Billy Nungesser's office to really improve on our opportunity to bring in the Olympic trials. And so that's another cool thing that we're going to be working on, particularly in the cities around Baton Rouge.
That's going to have to be for a future installment. But in the meanwhile, yes, Election Day is coming up on Saturday. Get your goat yoga in at Independence Park before you go vote. By the way,
everybody's loving it.
In the meanwhile, Janet's got to return that bus to Cats that she ran me over with a little while ago. Thank y'all as always for coming in. Always appreciate it. You've been listening to the BREC Room as part of Mornings with Brian Haldane. We're all done for today, y'all. Moon Griffon's coming up next. He's got a lot to talk about. That endorsement is definitely a big part of it. Stick around for Moon. We'll see y'all later. Oh, that was fun. Hey, Facebook, we got to get out of here. We got Monday meeting. We'll see y'all.
Everybody's like, BREC Yoga, remote, yoga with Brian Haldane.